Is this a tribute to Wisconsin playing their first home game under Jim Leonard?
Absolutely.
Gonna knock off Purdue tomorrow?
Get up.
No?
They really weirdly hate Purdue and Wisconsin. I don't know why.
Most hated rivals.
Like, it's strange.
It's a weird matchup.
Yeah. But, like, they, as a whole, the Wisconsin fan base very much dislikes Purdue. And it's like, that seems like a weird place to put your energy.
What do they have against Drew Brees?
I don't know.
What do they have against Joe Tiller?
I was
Rest in peace.
I think it's a
Kyle Orton.
I was maybe it's a Kyle Orton deal.
Jim Everett.
They thought that maybe Kyle Orton from Southeast Polk High School in suburban Des Moines should have gone to Madison instead of West Lafayette.
Maybe. I don't know. But it is aggressive how much they dislike Purdue, and I don't understand it.
I may have to do a double take on the line and if I touch that game or not. Purdue is still an underdog, 2.5-point underdog.
Are they?
Yes.
Interesting.
Jim Leonard, first home game.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that line at all.
Oh, there's a lot of other lines that we'll discuss. Welcome in on a football Friday. It is the Fiesta on a bye week. So you know what that means. It is flight tracking season around here.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh.
I do love flight tracking.
Has anybody – so I know a lot of people are like looking to the weekend where you don't have something that garners all of your attention for a day on football.
Mm-hmm.
So your Saturday is open. You either get married, you're going to a wedding, you're going to the pumpkin patch, a winery. You're putting up Christmas lights. You're mowing the lawn. You might go swimming because it's really nice.
Yeah,
all of a
really
sudden,
nice.
It's warmed up around here.
Yeah.
It's going to be like in the 80s. But we need a football game. So I'm going to be really glad to get to next week because from next Monday through a while, it's just going to be nothing but football and a new coach. So we don't have any more of these bye weeks where we just come up with absolute nonsense to talk about. And we track planes. And we prepare our flight tracker.
And we come up with theories. I was thinking about
we go dark on other people's message boards. well, other people's coaches troll Nebraska. How you doing, Lane?
Oh, I love you so much, Lane. I just can't even. It's the best.
He's the best troll coach in all of America.
Oh, without a doubt.
And by the way, for people that are vehemently against the NFL game last night, where Al Michaels very uncomfortably had to talk about Taylor Swift. And very uncomfortably, the NFL tried to shove Taylor Swift on us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to upset the Taylor Swift army because they will come at you.
Yeah, the Swifties come out in numbers.
Yeah, and I'm not a teenage girl. I'm not under the age of 8.
You heard it here first.
Those are 2 revelations this morning. But I'm okay with Taylor Swift. I've listened to a couple of her songs. A couple of them I like. So Al Michaels was not talking to me last night. But I gotta warn people because you're on the Lane train. There's a lot of people excited about Lane Kiffin.
Mm-hmm.
There was the screenshot. Do you think he was in Lincoln? Do you think he was interviewing?
No.
And I said, well, they're getting ready to play LSU. And coaches don't go to where your job is going to be to interview. They go to Atlanta. They go to Chicago. And there's not, discussion. If those kind of things are happening, discussions will happen between agents. But Lane isn't flying up midweek as he's preparing for the LSU to come interview the Nebraska job. But it's kind of fun. I just want people to know that if you are out on Taylor Swift, but in on Lane Kiffin, you got issues this morning because Lane Kiffin last night revealed that he is a huge Taylor Swift fan.
That does not surprise me at all. As you know, my close personal friend, Lane Kiffin and I, we talk about how we're both big Taylor Swift fans all the time.
So when the album dropped earlier this morning, midnight, you were all over it?
No, so I haven't listened to the album yet. I'm more of a casual Taylor Swift fan. I like a lot of her songs. I really do. But I'm not one of those people who I'm really not that way with any music where it's like I have to listen to this the moment it comes out.
It's still going to be there the next day.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those. I'll get to it when I get to it. If I'm like getting to a workout or something, go to the gym, be like, I've got like an hour here. Let's throw the new album on, see how it goes. Or it's like, I'm going to be in the car for half an hour. Let's start feeling it out a little bit. I'm not one of those people. It's like I have to stay up until midnight and then listen to the entire album immediately and then put all my thoughts on the internet and then listen to it again. Like that's not how I generally operate.
So just basing off people that stayed up all night listening to it on repeat, it is good but not spectacular.
Yeah, I think that's
that's
the
our
general.
early morning review of Taylor Swift's Midnights.
I've also heard it's a little darker than some of her music.
She recently broken up with somebody, because that's really, whenever she breaks up with somebody,
New album.
she goes ham with a new album and absolutely crushes that person.
It sounded like I said, I haven't listened to it yet, but just based on the Twitter machine, it sounded like more. At least there's a couple songs that are more like mental health, things like that. So
all right,
it's a little more introspective, I think, maybe.
Yeah, she's got one of those songs that will stick in my head. Welcome to New York.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of songs. She's put out a lot of songs over the years that, whether you like her or not, you probably have bobbed your head to at least once or twice.
You don't change the station.
Hey, she loves Omaha. She kicked off her Red tour here. Like, she was here for a week to rehearse, and then she kicked off her tour here. So she likes Omaha. I now want Ole Miss to beat LSU tomorrow in a prove-it game for Lane Kiffin and Brian Kelly, so to speak, because I want Ole Miss to win so that an Ole Miss media member will ask Lane Kiffin his read on the new album, if he's listened to it, what he thinks of it. Because you can't ask that after a loss.
No, you can't ask fun questions after a loss.
This is what a bye week sounds like, where there's no game to prepare for on a football
Taylor
Friday
Swift
Fiesta. We talk about Taylor Swift. Well, hey, Al Michaels entered the conversation. He's the one that did it.
It's true. It's his fault.
He was very uncomfortable, and he was very, 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 very off base, because there are people that are very comfortable in their manhood that are not teenage girls that do listen to him. He made it sound like only people that are under the age of 8, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we like Al Michaels because Al Michaels does games as a fan, and when he's disgusted by the football or he's gambling like he was last night, he'll mention it.
He'll let you know.
But probably the NFL isn't real happy, because the NFL is trying to attract that demographic.
Yes.
The Taylor Swift demographic. And you had the play-by-play guy just crush that demographic and basically tell you, hey, only teenage girls listen to Taylor Swift.
Yeah, there was an old guy blind spot there, I think. I think he sees a young.
I like that phrase.
Yeah, no, it's true though, right? Like, when you get to a certain age, there's certain things that you are not culturally aware of anymore, right? And I think for Al Michaels, the Taylor Swift thing is a huge old guy blind spot, because I know as many male Taylor Swift fans as I do female. Like, it's just
dudes can be Taylor Swift.
It's a pretty wide ranging fan base there. And I was telling you before we got on the air here, one of my best friends is who's a guy is the biggest Taylor Swift fan I know. Like, he has gone to multiple concerts. Like, I don't know if he stayed up to listen to because he's got a kid now. I don't know if he stayed up to listen to the album, but I guarantee you he's listening to it in the office this morning. Like, he's an enormous Taylor Swift fan. And so whether you like her or not, that's a huge just whiff by Al Michaels.
Yeah, he didn't like tiptoe through his comments about her and his disgust about reading the review.
Yes.
Now, the NFL did kind of push her on a game that was awkward. But the game, if you were a Cardinal fan, the only awkwardness was your quarterback and your head coach arguing on the sidelines. And as a Saints fan, the awkwardness of Andy Dalton is still in the NFL, throwing pick six and being bad in primetime games. Hi, welcome in, everybody. It is a Football Friday Fiesta on 1620 The Zone. Robbie is in. I'm Gary, Jimmy here as well. It is a typical Friday lineup. We've got Brett Ciancia. He will join us today. He made a trip to Chicago last weekend.
Yeah.
And so he said that he lost track of time. And I said, and we were texting back and forth, and I said, are you hungover? So Brett will join us coming up at 7:30.
He texted at 1 a.m. I woke up in the middle of the night. I was like, who texted? And it was Brett. And I was like, wow, he's on Eastern time. So I can tell he's pretty fired up and waiting by the phone for today's segment.
He felt bad.
That's what I took.
He felt bad. But there are some intriguing games. Could a couple of unbeatens go down this weekend, including Kansas State possibly. Kansas State TCU is a primetime game. Prepare for Adrian Martinez to be on your timeline and on your TV. The way that he is playing exceptionally well for Kansas State. So Brett will join us. Lee Sterling's got his picks on the weekend. Mike Sauter will join us coming up at 8:30. Tonight is the last night of the regular season for 11-man football and 8-man football. And there are some key games that will decide some intriguing playoff positioning. In Class A, there could be some road teams in the opening round that actually might be a favorite. But the big game of the night is out at Elkhorn, between Elkhorn South and Omaha North. Cole Ballard, who has 31 touchdowns in 8 games.
That's a lot.
Had 7 against Omaha Burke. And then Deshaun Porter, who is the leading rusher in Class A, who just committed to Northwest Missouri State, where Larry Martin's son, Zach, is a assistant coach.
Yeah.
So it's a great connection there, a great spot for Porter to end up. But that is the Cox game tonight. And so Michael, come in and we'll talk about that, because tonight could get kind of wild. There could be some movement, plenty in high school football. And then the brackets are announced tomorrow. Mike Schaefer stops by with recruiting and more. Malachi Coleman will commit to Nebraska tomorrow. It's going to be an event, a big event.
Are they putting on like a whole thing?
Well, they got Kevin Cosgrove's son, who writes for Rivals, Clint, is coming in to MC the event.
Oh, wow.
Machado's in Lincoln is hosting it, and they, Nick and Malachi have gotten together on some name, image, likeness for to benefit.
Some nonprofit.
Some nonprofit. Yeah. So they are a big part of the event. So you can connect all the dots. If you think I'm crazy for telling you now for 6 months that he's going to Nebraska. Now, I think Nick is very supportive of Malachi, and he would put this event on anyway.
Yes.
But, I mean, look at here.
Makes it a little easier if he stayed at home.
Hey. People know how to – you play it right. You build it up. It's a bye week.
Yeah.
There's no football game to contend with.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's all eyes on Malachi.
So Schaefer will join us coming up at 9, then Matt Verzal as well. So that's a good lineup on this Friday in October on a bye week. So it's flight tracker season. Am I missing anything else? There was no so yesterday it appeared like if you're getting the vibe of the narrative being pushed for coaches, Lane Kiffin is still there.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a big day for Bill O'Brien, I noticed.
I was going to say I've been thinking a lot about Bill O'Brien lately. And I don't know if that's because people have been talking about him and I'm pro Bill O'Brien for what it's worth. But when we were talking earlier this week, and we've talked several times about how we expect it to be quiet, we've questioned, has Trev already made a decision? Has he decided already? And we're just not going to hear anything until he announces. A guy that would make sense if that's true is Bill O'Brien, because you're not going to do that with a current sitting head coach, most likely, right? Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
An assistant, though, he could go about his business and call plays and do whatever he needs to do and kind of have a thing wrapped up already, right? Like that seems more plausible than a sitting head coach already committing to go somewhere else.
I've just have never been in the Trev and Bill O'Brien are connected. I mean, I did the math for everybody on their time in Atlanta together. They crossed paths.
Yeah.
I mean, I just report what I'm hearing of our coach of the day
in the ether.
Yes. So Bill O'Brien, his day was yesterday. People forget, Ravi and Jimmy, that 2 guys that were mentioned for the job, I think they're still mentioned for the job, actually play tomorrow in KU and Baylor.
Yeah.
We forgot about Lance Leipold and Dave Aranda.
Well, Lance Leipold lost 2 games in a row, so he got voted off. He got voted off the island.
Dave Aranda's 500.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing out facts.
Which people don't mind with Dave Aranda, but it's the worst thing ever for Matt Campbell.
And at Baylor, will shape in the quarterback play after that nasty hit he took against West Virginia. That's going to be a big one.
Matt Campbell doesn't play tomorrow, so we'll be good on Matt Campbell.
Yeah, his stock will rise back up.
He'll be at the pumpkin patch.
Whoever loses the Leipold-Aranda matchup will be out. They're off the island. And, Bill O'Brien, will see how long his day in the sun as Nebraska's next head coach lasts.
Chip Kelly's name will get mentioned this weekend if they win.
Oh, okay. You calling a shot here?
I'm just telling you, it's a fact. If Chip Kelly goes to 7-0, his name will come up for the Nebraska job. Real or not?
Because being 6-0 makes you a different coach than if you're 7-0.
No, there are people that have wondered about Chip Kelly and a connection to Nebraska.
Yeah.
That I've been asked about, and I'm like,
he seems like a weird fit.
Well,
I think he's a really good football coach.
You know what is kind of interesting with Chip Kelly, and I think Chip Kelly, where he's at now, is a nice spot for him.
Yeah.
They are unbeaten. I mean, who would have thought that Oregon UCLA tomorrow is a top 10 matchup?
Yeah.
He was supposed to be fired.
Yeah, he was low key on the hot seat.
Yeah, he was going to be gone.
Last year was his last chance, right?
You know what? UCLA is not bad if you've watched them play.
I think they were in a worse spot than people realized when he took over. And he was kind of on the same trajectory as Frost in terms of it took way longer than people thought. But he turned it around last year, where they go 8-4. And then this year they're off to the races.
If there were more marquee jobs open or perceived to be open besides Nebraska a major football power, his name would probably come up more. But I think when you go from Oregon to the NFL, to Philadelphia to San Francisco, and you find a landing spot at UCLA, it just seems like finally Chip Kelly has a fit. People don't talk about Chip Kelly as like an innovator and ahead of the game in college football. He kind of went to a place that you could disappear.
Yeah.
But, man, watching them a couple of times this year from start to finish,
they're really good.
He's got a nice team.
They're really good.
UCLA is in a good spot football-wise, which also helps out because they're going to make the transition into a conference that they have no familiarity with.
Yeah. Well, and you wonder with making the transition whether he would want to leave or whether he wants to be in the Big Ten and get that Big Ten money.
I think he is pretty well compensated.
I was just looking it up. I think he's only at like 4.6. So it's well, but not. I mean, that's middle of the pack for.
There are, as I found out
coaches.
with John Savage, there is some hidden money at UCLA that takes care of coaches.
Okay,
that is not public.
Part of the public fund.
Yeah, which I mean shouldn't surprise anybody. It doesn't. It's not really something we talk about around here with coaches' salaries, but Lane Kiffin is what, $7.3 million?
Yeah, he's around 7.5.
A majority of that is not paid by the university.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's a common thing. So these numbers that get reported, I mean, they could be well higher than what is public that is published, every year by the USA Today, or
sure,
you can go and get off a public record. So I think he's paid a little bit more than that.
Fair enough.
At UCLA,
that's fair.
But he was. Well, wasn't he one of the highest paid coaches when he went to Philadelphia?
I believe so. Yeah, he was.
All right. There's Robbie, Jimmy. I'm Gary. Great lineup for you. You're always welcome to join the conversation. 951-1620. We haven't even gotten to what happened with your team overnight. We will get to that.
I would hope so. It's a pretty big deal. It's a big story.
There's a big if.
Yeah, it's an enormous if.
There's a big if ahead of you and I playing on Sunday.
Yeah, I just wanted to say this is a Christian McCaffrey celebratory hat, not a trash talk hat. I just wanted to make that clear.
I was very relieved when I saw it come across the ticker last night. Breaking news: Christian McCaffrey, and I'm like, no,
not the Rams.
Well, I was thinking Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo, yeah.
And it was the Niners, and I was like, I hope Christian McCaffrey packs up his house in Charlotte. I hope they get a moving truck and he drives across the country and gets to San Francisco maybe on Wednesday. But apparently he's going to be in a red zone package coming up on Sunday.
I'm excited.
That's okay. You guys won't be in the red zone anyhow.
That's rude.
Knew that was coming.
Rude.
I had to. All right. We kick off the morning with Jesse, a huge Taylor Swift fan. Hello, Jesse.
Hey, guys. Yeah, I mean, the longer I sat on the phone, the more things I had, more questions that came up. But
just let it rip.
I'll just ask basic questions, and I don't really need answers. I'm just putting these out there for the universe in general. Like 2 straight weeks now, we've had Troy Aikman and Al Michaels who have said things that if we're all just sitting around talking to Troy Aikman and Al Michaels or guys their age, nobody's surprised, right? Like, why the next morning, both mornings, do I have to wake up, open Twitter, and see people who, by the way, if you're creating a Venn diagram of people who care about the NFL or care about what these guys are saying, it doesn't exist. There isn't one. Like, there's no intersection of people who actually care about somebody disparaging Taylor Swift and really cares about the NFL. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really have a point here. I'm just asking these questions out loud. Why do we care? I know the times we live in, but it's just kind of annoying because I feel like everybody who's tweeting about this angrily don't really care about the game that they were watching or didn't watch the game and just saw like a clip of it. So I don't know. That's my theory.
Right.
And then one more thing on your coaching search, plane watching thing. I got 2 points here.
Okay.
I just want to say a positive about Lane Kiffin is that we've already seen the floor and we've seen him bounce back off of it and succeed. And then I've heard people disparage Chris Peterson because of his age. He's the exact same age as Lance Leipold. So that's all I got.
Jesse, thank you. The Chris Peterson hesitation is, does he want to get back into major college football?
To me, it's not the age; it's his desire to keep coaching or to coach again.
I mean, he had a midlife sit down, and I think he enjoys TV. He hasn't done a ton of interviews, but when he does, he talks a lot about the grind and the mental part of it.
Yeah.
So that's the only. I think Chris Peterson is great. Now, remember, here is one thing that did happen. So Sean Eichhorst, before they hired Mike Riley, and they went down that path, Eichhorst had Chris Peterson on the radar, and they sent a trial balloon, and Chris Peterson, through his agent, said not interested at Nebraska.
Yeah.
But that was a while ago. And then, of course, at his time at Washington, he stepped away. It just, you're away, you get in TV, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
And
TV is a good job.
And remember, whoever gets this job, what is the one thing that has been talked about? You got to be a grinder.
Yeah.
So not saying that a guy like Chris Peterson, who's been out of the game, gets the reset, refreshed, new ideas, comes back and he would be fine. But he doesn't really give off the impression that he's chomping at the bit to get back into the game. So I think that's where the hesitation on pushing Chris Peterson further. But don't discount it. His name is out there, and his name should be out there until he says no to any of these jobs, because he has a track record of everything that you would want if you're an athletic director.
Yeah, no, as a coach, I have no questions about Chris Peterson at all. I think he's terrific. I think he runs a really good program, obviously, never really had any issues, and just a pure professional in that sense. But again, it's not the age for me. It's the does he want to coach football? And, we were talking about this some yesterday with Trev. As you think Trev wants a guy that like really wants to be here, not just, this is a really good paycheck, or, this is a good opportunity. Somebody that specifically wants to be at Nebraska. And considering we're not even entirely sure that Chris Peterson wants to coach at all, he probably doesn't fit that part of the equation. Everything else, no questions about him at all. I don't care that he's 58, 57, whatever. It's the, does he want to coach football? A guy that's on the fence about that probably should not have this job.
Yeah, one of the stipulations is we need a grinder.
Yeah, 100%.
Basically somebody that doesn't have any hobbies.
No hobbies, and is just, especially now, when Chris Peterson left, yes, it was an incredibly hard job, and it was 24/7, 365. Now it's even more so with the NIL and having to continue to recruit your roster because of the transfer rule and everything. Like, it's only gotten more of the things that he found taxing already, which does not make it feel like he would come back when he's got a pretty good gig right now.
Yep. All right, 32 past the hour. It's Football Friday Fiesta. Brett Ciancia is coming up in an hour. We'll talk about a plethora of good games on the docket. Once again, will there be a couple of unbeatens that go down? And we'll get his thoughts. Can Iowa cover 30 on the road at Ohio State? You think Ohio State people still talk about the woodshed beating in 17 in Iowa City? 55-24.
That's a good question.
That seems a lot longer than 5 years ago.
It seems like ages ago.
And Ohio State and Iowa don't play very often. I wonder if that's been brought up much in Columbus. But that game is a 30-point spread.
Yeah, it keeps going up. It just keeps going up.
Good luck to the Iowa cornerbacks against the Ohio State Death Star wide receivers. We're back with more after this.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
I'm going to bury a take in here. S'mores are overrated.
Whoa! What kind of a monster are you? Explain yourself. Show your work, Connor.
Melted marshmallow, guys?
Delicious.
No. Not really. Not really at all. Why? Marshmallow is not a good thing. Marshmallows aren't good.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Potential for a top 10 day Friday with mainly sunny skies, light winds throughout the day, highs in the upper 70s.
Cooling off overnight, mainly clear skies, lows in the lower 40s. Mostly sunny, breezy, and warmer for Saturday. Highs in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
The Zone Hotline is powered by Los Hills Harley-Davidson, your home in the hills. 1620, The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown from 183rd to 175th along Center. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for a little bit of a delay near Gold Coast Road. And on L, it looks like things have slowed down just a little bit near 90th Street. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery has raised over $893 million, which has helped to provide more than 117,000 college scholarships, save wildlife habitats across the state, and fund new facilities at the Nebraska State Fair. The Nebraska Lottery, helping to build a better Nebraska.
This is Darcy with Dingman's Collision Center. We have run our business for years by helping the vehicle owner retain the value of their vehicle by working for them with warranted, safe, high-standard repairs. For this reason, Omaha vehicle owners have chosen Dingman's to repair their vehicles. Your loyalty has been shown through repeat business and amazing referrals. You've also voted us first place Best of Omaha for the past 17 years. We want to say thank you for choosing the Dingman family and our incredible technicians to repair your vehicles. At Dingman's, we'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
An estimated 80% of Americans aren't getting their recommended daily amount of physical activity. It's time to move and keep moving, America. And when you need help, physical therapists and physical therapist assistants are by your side. Be your own champion. Choose more movement. Choose better health. Choose physical therapy. Find out more information and a physical therapist at choosept.com/NE. Brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association of Nebraska.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year and business has never been better. We continue to grow and add new customers. Many employers are looking for new ideas for their staff as people return to the office. Our pantry service is a great office amenity for staff and guests. Fresh food, snacks, coffee, water, and other beverages for employees and guests. Enhance your office experience with pantry service from Host Coffee. Learn more at hostcoffee.net.
Acura of Omaha has more than 100 quality pre-owned vehicles with most priced thousands below market value. Get our best price in just minutes at AcuraofOmaha.com. That's AcuraofOmaha.com.
Your Omaha hockey team is at Baxter Arena this weekend when they welcome Alaska Fairbanks. Pregame is at 6:30 tonight. Puck drops at 7:07. It's UNO versus Alaska Fairbanks on your new home for Maverick Hockey. News Talk 1290 Coil.
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issues stemming from your neck or back. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
Greg Gonzalez retired as a tenured and decorated Deputy Chief of Police at the Omaha Police Department. Greg has over 28 years of experience and successfully climbed the ranks from street cop to Deputy Police Chief in charge of hundreds of police officers. Greg holds a bachelor's in criminal justice and a master's in public administration. Greg has the education, executive leadership, and budget experience needed to manage the Douglas County Sheriff's Department. Greg has helped recruit and hire over 450 officers. Greg Gonzalez will hire and train deputies to patrol your neighborhoods and keep you safe at night. Greg is the only candidate who has the executive leadership experience at the ranks of deputy chief, captain, and lieutenant. His opponent does not have the temperament, education, rank, budget, or supervisory experience needed to successfully lead the entire Douglas County Sheriff's Department. Hire the most qualified person for the job. Vote Greg Gonzalez for Douglas County Sheriff.
Hi, I'm Greg Gonzalez, and I approve this message. Paid for by Greg for Sheriff.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. 1620 The Zone.
We can kill this because, and I don't say it. I'm not against Taylor Swift. I'm saying this will be a song that'll be in my head all day. Okay, I got a lot of things going on today. I don't need this song in my head.
Oh, that's already stuck in my head.
That is a.
That's for our zone Swifties.
I'm a fun hater here.
That is a Taylor Swift staple. Is that it will just get embedded in your brain.
You can't turn the station off.
Hey, if you have
unless it's the keg.
If you have the weekend off and you want to drive to Athens, Ohio, for Ohio and Northern Illinois, it is Frank Solich Bobblehead Day.
Oh, nice.
And there's a good-looking bobblehead. I just responded to Channel 3 Sean. We need Frank holding his bobblehead. We need that picture.
Yes, I think so.
I don't think Nebraska football, and they really haven't had to, when all your seats, for the most part, are full, you don't need a giveaway
to
bring in new people.
Really?
So they've never done a giveaway. I mean, heck, they don't even give like a free T-shirt away in like a special day.
Yeah.
I wonder if this has crossed the path of the marketing department. Hey, to make sure we have a sellout for blank game, why don't we do a bobblehead giveaway? Now, I don't know that they would invest in 90,000.
No, it's like the first 10,000 in the stadium.
But if you had a Nebraska football bobblehead giveaway at the gate, which would be very interesting for people that are not used to going to events where you get giveaways.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the people that would go and stand in line, grab the bobblehead, and then go back to their car and put it away. I wonder what would be the first bobblehead. Could you do a bobble of the 3 Heisman Trophy winners?
Oh, that would be interesting.
The Jet, Mike, and EC.
I
think that would be the most appropriate first bobblehead if Nebraska football was ever going to do a giveaway.
So like a triple bobblehead,
which is pretty easy to do.
That's a good idea. I was thinking I just felt like a Tom Osborne bobblehead would be really awkward. That doesn't really seem like on brand for him. Not sure he'd sign off on that. But yeah, the Heisman, it's easier if you've got the football helmets on because the football helmet kind of creates the bobblehead image itself. It's more awkward when you've got, it's a coach and they don't have the helmet on. But yeah, the 3 Heisman bobblehead, that's a good idea.
I'm sure someone has done a TO bobblehead, like a not through the university, but on their
independently. Yeah.
Because the Doug McDermott bobblehead giveaway was hugely popular.
Oh yeah, those things were impossible to get. Like they were really difficult to get your hands on if you were just like a regular person.
Surprised no one has ever stolen the one that's here in studio. Kind of hidden.
Oh yeah, one day when I just decided I've had it, I'm just going to take it and go.
I think you just self-incriminated yourself. Please leave your forwarding address at the front desk. All right, here is speaking of basketball, because there's a huge exhibition game against Chadron State on Sunday where you can drink beer. Here is Nebraska Ball Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hello, gentlemen.
How you doing?
I'm good. I just want this team to make me care about basketball for more than 10 minutes this year.
Okay.
I have a thought and a question about this coaching search. I don't know who it is. I've got my thoughts. I had my once 5 years ago. You all thought it was crazy.
Remind me again of who that was.
Mike Leach.
Okay.
I didn't want Scott Frost because I thought this might happen, and I didn't want Scott Frost to be fired.
Okay, so let me ask you a question here, Mike. I do now. I remember this conversation. You were very passionate about Mike Leach and making the connection with Bill Moose.
Yes.
Do you think that if there was no push here for Scott Frost, and let's even say that Scott Frost was not an alum of Nebraska, that Bill Moose would have hired Scott Frost, who was the hottest candidate at the time?
No, I think he would have brought Mike Leach with him. And I think we would have won.
That would have been interesting.
Here's the thing. Bo Pelini was a great defensive coach, and Mike Leach made a career out of kicking his tail. Here. So don't tell me he couldn't have won.
All right.
I've got my thoughts. Is there a coach out there that will stay here 10 or 15 years?
Certainly there is. If they win?
I think there's a lot of them.
I don't think of the people you're naming today, I don't think there is.
So why? Why? Okay, let me. So in this discussion, let's say you hire a 42-year-old head coach. You think he would be looking like NFL, another school?
I guarantee you Chip Kelly would be looking.
All right.
Bill O'Brien has a solid college history, but he's got a pro background too. He'll be looking too.
Okay. So those two guys we've crossed off the list. Next.
I've got a name.
Okay.
And there are people paranoid out in Clemson because I didn't know Trev had property out there. He does. He knows people.
Okay.
This isn't a Clemson guy, but it's a name,
Okay.
and I think it'd be interesting here.
Okay.
Jamie Caldwell.
Chadwell.
Chadwell, I'm sorry.
The Coastal Carolina head coach?
Yes. He runs the type of offense we used to run, and he runs it well.
All right. Well, his name was mentioned a lot at the beginning. I think as the Georgia Tech job has opened up and possibly Auburn. Yeah, Mike, there's no Nebraska's a place that if you come here and have success, life can be really, really good. And if you have really good success, you're chasing something that would probably be the pinnacle of your career.
Can I also add something?
Feel free. It's Friday. Yeah, go ahead.
I would like Mickey to stay.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Okay. Is he?
Mickey stepped in a tough spot, and he's tough, and his family's tough, and they don't strike me as people who quit.
No.
So
No,
I want Mickey to be here when Nebraska is back to being anywhere close to something respectable.
Mike, he uprooted his family to come here for a reason. He wants to be part of Nebraska football, returning to what he remembers Nebraska football as. Okay, he's not going anywhere. All right, his job is not finished. All right.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, think about this, and then you can tweet at me. Is Mickey Joseph more valuable to Nebraska as the head coach or in his current role, maybe with an added title? Think about that. Tweet back at me, okay?
Hey, and by the way,
okay.
Next time you're in the downtown area, give me 24 hours notice and let me know.
Yeah, I didn't know that you live downtown here in Omaha.
Yep, I'm right in the middle of it.
All right. Where do you want to go?
Zio's is always good.
Zio's?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I will hit you up, Mike. All right.
Okay.
All right. Make sure Twitter's good to you today. All right. Okay. Think about that question. Okay.
That's a good question.
Is Mickey Joseph more valuable to Nebraska as a head coach or in his current role with maybe an added title? And look at it through this lens. Recruiting.
Yeah.
Recruiting as a position coach, recruiting as a head coach. More valuable to Nebraska as a head coach or in his current role with maybe an expanded role.
And just for the record for Nebraska ball, Mike, I love Jamie Chadwell. I've said that from the beginning. It is too.
Is there a coach you don't like?
Yeah.
Now you're on a roll of you're like the 25 straight guys you said. I like that guy.
Well, Jamie Chadwell's like legitimately
Give me
one
a guy
of
you don't like. You don't. You've
Matt Rule.
Some passion. Okay.
Not a Matt Rule guy at all.
Just had to make sure you were real.
Totally out on Matt Rule. Not a fan there. Like I've said, most of the guys that are being mentioned, I think would be good here. It's varying degrees of good, but we're coming off of very bad. Jamie Chadwell is legitimately one of my favorite coaches in college football. He's too big of a risk for Nebraska right now to go from the Sun Belt to the Big Ten. That's why I don't mention his name with the job, because that's an enormous jump, and I don't think that's the level of risk Trev is looking at right now.
All right, quick break. Brett Ciancia in the next hour. Lee Sterling as well to make you some money on this NFL and college football weekend. It started last night with the Cardinals breaking an 8-game home losing streak, beating the Saints. Ooh, Saints are toast. They're 2-5. They are a mess.
Not good.
They are a mess. The Cardinals, they won. They won and they scored 42 points.
Are their head coach and quarterback going to get along?
Oh, come on. Everybody's like that. Sometimes it's the OC and the quarterback. This case, it's the quarterback and a head coach that, he fell out of bed and hit third base. We're back with more after this.
1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. Listen to Qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air.
Awesome.
Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's 4-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers, offers exterior solutions that help you protect your number one investment. Whether it's roofing and siding or windows and doors, they're committed to excellence, quality, and outstanding customer service in every step of the process. When it's time to protect the exterior of your home, your choice is simple. Turn to who the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Check them out online and schedule a free estimate today. J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory, explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every month. Omaha, it's the spookiest time of the year, but starting a new fitness routine doesn't have to be scary. Genesis is transforming fitness here in Omaha with our fully remodeled Cass, West Roads, and Terra Plaza locations, plus new locations at 132nd and Center and Midtown Crossing. Come see our just finished luxury remodel at 84th and Q with all new finishes, equipment, and amenities for the best fitness experience in Omaha. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every single month. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Come to Genesis and get in the best shape of your life so you can handle anything those zombies, werewolves, and vampires throw at you. Go to GenesisHealthClubs.com before Halloween and get no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every month. This offer will not extend.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issues stemming from your neck or back. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has been making your game day experience one to remember for 18 years with our award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. But now your game day just got bigger and better with Oscar's newly upgraded audio-video system. Cheer on your favorite teams this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall, showing up to 8 games at once, and of course, 40 TVs and massive dual projectors. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, We hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code KIND at checkout. That's harrys.com, code KIND. Enjoy.
1620 The Zone.
I'm telling you, we're going to fight this morning. You keep sending me all this stuff about Lane Kiffin flying to Lincoln. Okay.
This isn't
It's going to be the end of the day where we're not going to have fun on the old Twitter machine anymore. Just people need to just go, okay, does this make sense? Oh, okay. All right. Now what are we on to next? Thank you. That's my PSA for the morning.
Guys, this isn't like a job that you and I interview for where you have to go to them.
Yeah, even Patrick, who just
even if they fly you out, like
tweeted at all of us.
Listen, even if you're interviewing for a really nice job, they fly you out, they put you up in a nice hotel or whatever. This is not that. When you're a head football coach, people come to you, or you go to a neutral location. This is not a normal job interview.
Even before you get to that, Ole Miss they actually play this week.
Yeah,
and they play a fairly important game. Remember, Ole Miss wants to tell everybody that they're a legit national championship contender. So I'm just trying to make some sense of this, if you believe this, that their head coach preparing for a game just quietly would just exit and go somewhere and then come back.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I'm just asking questions aloud.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
So that was fun for about, would this go on for about 3 or 4 hours yesterday?
They've also they've got for what it's worth, Ole Miss's bye week is in 2 weeks. So if he was going to have a conversation with anyone about anything, probably happens then. And wherever he decides, not in Lincoln, Nebraska.
God, I'm waiting for him to respond to this on Twitter. He's the great troll coach. Here is Dave to wrap up the hour. Dave, good morning. Dave? Oh, come on, Dave. Dave was on hold for a bit. Dave?
He was.
Hello, Dave. Dave?
Dave, are you there?
Dave is not there. All right, Dave, call back.
R.I.P. Dave.
Or send an email into the Equitable Bank inbox, or send us a tweet on the JTech Construction's own Twitter feed. We'll take for he had an idea about a bobblehead.
I hope he calls back. I want to know what it was.
He teased me with them. They're good.
I think I had the greatest idea in all of baseball for a bobblehead.
Okay.
That became too expensive. A player to be named later. Or I also had another idea. This almost happened.
Yeah.
Give away a bobblehead of a 5-tool player.
Yeah.
So it'd be a bobblehead that inside of it you would have like a nail clipper, a file.
That's pretty clever.
But after looking into it, it was quite expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Like the cost and then what we would get back.
Yeah, not great.
Giving away, yeah.
Probably not great there. It's a good idea. I was thinking of like a little tool belt.
Mm-hmm.
Put on a little construction baseball player, 5-tool.
I think I have a Komine bobblehead that they gave away. I am so glad that Nebraska baseball. So Nebraska baseball, they were supposed to do it last year, but something fell through. They're going to retire some numbers, and they're actually going to put them up at Haymarket Park.
Oh, that's good.
I love that Shane Komine is around a little bit more.
Yeah.
So they had a day for him recently, and then he was inducted in the Nebraska Athletic Hall of Fame this past go-around. It is so great that he is more involved in Nebraska baseball.
Yeah, Shane Komine is one of the first names I think of when I think of Nebraska baseball. And there's been good players. You got Alex Gordon, obviously Jabba Chamberlain pops up in a lot of people's minds, but I think one of the first people I think of is Shane Komine. He was like the face of Nebraska baseball for me. And I don't know if I was probably too young at the time to know if that was an everybody thing or just me, but Shane Komine and Nebraska baseball are like synonymous in my mind.
He, as part of those teams in the early 2000s, or the Van Horn teams, I think Shane Komine single-handedly brought so many people into Nebraska baseball.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I remember back when they used to show Nebraska baseball games on like public television, just watching Shane Comey games. And I believe I went down a couple times to go out and see him pitch. He was an attraction in college baseball, which is pretty uncommon, really, when you think about it, like having a specific guy that brings people to the ballpark.
All right, coming up after the top of the hour, there is Bud Crawford news overnight. Probably not the Bud Crawford news that you want.
No.
But he is going to fight in Omaha in December. We will get into that. Brett Ciancia, Lee Sterling coming up. Plus, Christian McCaffrey overnight becomes a San Francisco 49er.
That's right.
They haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since Frank Gore in 14. You know that they have had a different leading rusher the last 5 years under Kyle Shanahan, and now they have another running back.
I read a stat yesterday that even though with all the games he'd missed since 2020, he still has more total yards than all of the 49er running backs combined.
If healthy. If healthy, there's a lot to like.
Yeah, if healthy is an enormous statement with him, though.
They gave up a ton. He missed 23 of 33 games prior to this year.
He has, yeah.
But, I mean, it's a nice little offense for a guy that has the skill set of Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, and you wonder if maybe not so much is required of him. Maybe he's able to stay a little healthier.
Yeah, there will be a lot of guys to run the football, and a lot of guys are probably happy in San Francisco. We'll get into that coming up as we roll till 10. It's a Football Friday fiesta on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West 1 Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown from 183rd to 175th along Center. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for a little bit of a delay near Gold Coast Road. And on L, it looks like things have slowed down just a little bit near 90th Street. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Nanfito Heating and Cooling.
Don't get caught in the cold. Call Nanfito Heating and Cooling, your Rude Pro partner today. Now is the time to have Nanfito Heating and Cooling get your furnace in top shape. Nanfito services all brands of furnaces. Call today, 402-515-5050.
Sure, the weather is nice and mild now, but before too long, it's going to be cold, windy, with tons of snow and ice. Is your roof ready? The time to make it ready is now. That's why Complete Industries uses quality products like Scotchgard protected Atlas Pristine shingles. Sturdy, durable, and reliable. So when the storm hits, you'll be more than ready. Complete Industries also works with your insurance. Get a free inspection and estimate on roofs, gutters, siding too.
Visit CompleteIndustries.com or call 402-935-0554.
With some big-time events coming up, including the Luke Combs concert at the CHI Health Center right here in Omaha, October 28th and 29th. Be sure to check out my friends at ticketsforless.com. It's not all about sports. It's about shows, and it's also about finding the best tickets at ticketsforless.com. So whether you want to see the pageantry of Memorial Stadium on a Saturday, catch a game at Arrowhead Stadium, Tickets for Less is your source for the best tickets. Also, without those crazy per-ticket fees you'll pay on other sites, trust me, you'll keep going back to ticketsforless.com. Compare and save the day at ticketsforless.com.
Follow your imagination to the Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch. Bring the whole gang and explore for treasure on the pirate shipwreck. See how the West was fun. Pretend you're a superhero as you jump on giant bounce pads. Maybe reserve your own campfire rental where you can roast marshmallows and tell stories. It's all up to you. And of course, go on a hayride and grab your own pumpkin. Priced by the size, not the pound. Follow your imagination at the Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch. 48th between Cornhusker and Highway 370. More info at BellevueBerryFarm.com.
It's the final weekend to save up to 50% during 42 Degrees Pipes and Vaporizer sale, and it's going on right now at all 42 Degree locations. That's right, save up to 50% on the largest selection of pipes and vaporizers, only at the source, 42 Degrees.
This is Loyalty Lab Interview 6. Subject, grandmother's loyalty. Margie, what do you do when your grandson misbehaves?
Angels don't misbehave.
Here we study the most loyal, like you and... Oh, there goes the lamp.
Shouldn't have put it there.
Shell and the Fuel Rewards program has our members' backs, too. It's super easy to save on every gallon. Loyal, just like how you acted like that wasn't his fault.
Someone should clean that up before he gets hurt.
Yes! Loyal, just like that.
10 years of FR.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper?
And you can get it online. Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-341-8735 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-341-8735. That's 800-341-8735. What do you have to lose? Call 800-341-8735. Again, 800-341-8735.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
All right, hour number 2 on a Friday. Robbie is in. I'm Gary. There's Jimmy as well. Bottom of the hour, Brett Cianci is coming up. We'll go across the country. Eugene, Oregon is the home of game day for a top 10 matchup between UCLA and Oregon. People forget that Oregon got absolutely throttled week 1 against Georgia.
They've done okay since then.
We completely forgotten about how bad they got beat.
Wrote them off totally. Yeah. I think that's a weird game to think about now. Because I don't think Georgia's as good as they looked. I also don't think Oregon's as bad as they looked. Like, I thought Oregon was overrated to start the season. But I don't think they're as bad as they looked then. But they're going to have a hard time, even if they win out, they're going to have a hard time making the playoff with that on their resume because people are going to look at it and be like, why do we want to see that again?
I think it might be tough. UCLA is in a good spot. But for anybody to come out of the Pac-12 now, there'll be a
UCLA will have to go undefeated, right?
If Texas runs the table, watch. There will be a clamoring for a 2-loss Texas, but they would have to run the table, and they have an intriguing game in Stillwater tomorrow against Oklahoma State.
There's also been some talk about an undefeated or an Illinois team that runs the table.
Well, there's going to be this debate as you get past into the month of November. Could 3 one-loss SEC teams make it? So Georgia beats Tennessee, Alabama beats Georgia in Atlanta again, and you have 3 teams. Well, what happens if you have Michigan and Ohio State unbeaten, and one of those teams will lose,
and then
one goes
wins
on?
The Big Ten.
But is the fact that the East and the Big Ten are down going to hurt the loser of that game to make a case that, yes, we should be included with a loss?
Yeah, that's going to be a really difficult situation because first of all, I don't think that's how it'll play out just because we seem to do this every year where we go, well, what if this, and this happens? And it almost never does. But if you end up with this scenario where you've got the 3 SEC teams, you end up with Michigan and Ohio State. Let's say Texas runs the table. There may be some clamoring, but that takes Texas right out of it. Let's say UCLA runs the table and goes undefeated. UCLA is left out even over the one-loss teams in the other conferences, right? Like they just don't get in.
There would be a long look at their non-conference schedule.
Yeah,
which played Yumi and Dupree. Not all at the same time. They spread them out over 3 weeks.
Yeah, I don't.
But here's the thing: why there is a better chance to have 3 one-loss SEC teams. What are the other candidates out of Power 5?
Yeah,
the timing is everything. It could be one of those years where there's no real legit candidates. Like people don't talk about Clemson. Clemson is hanging around. Now, Clemson plays an unbeaten team in Syracuse this weekend, and so 1 unbeaten of the 9 will fall. But Clemson is just kind of lingering around, and they're there, and you will put them 5 or 6 in a poll.
Yeah.
But you'll be like, but
they're just hovering.
But that's why the SEC can make a case right now, well before the end of the season. Hey, this could be the year 3 one-loss teams, because there's really no dominant multiple teams from other conferences. And the Big Ten's going to have 1.
Yeah, whoever
the Big Ten will have either Michigan or Ohio State.
Whoever ends up the better out of Michigan, Ohio State, they'll be the one from the Big Ten. You wonder though, like let's say you've got your 3 one-loss SEC teams. Let's play this out. Let's say Illinois does run the table, they win the Big Ten. Are they good enough to get the Big Ten spot, or does that go to a Clemson then? Does that go to a UCLA then?
I would hope you win the Big Ten. You are in a 14 playoff.
You would hope so.
I know that is not given. Now, so the only blemish would be Illinois lost to Indiana.
Which is a horrible loss.
That they had no business losing to.
Awful loss, right? And does that disqualify you over some of the other candidates? Let's say Clemson runs the table. They probably get in over a one-loss Illinois. Let's say UCLA runs the table. They probably get in over a one-loss Illinois because that Indiana loss.
I would think if you're a one-loss Big Ten team and you go to Indianapolis and let's say Ohio State or Michigan is unbeaten and you beat them, you're in the playoff.
You think so?
Yes.
I would hope so. I imagine the Big Ten would throw an enormous fit if their one-loss champion got left out, no matter who it is.
This is the time for Kevin Warren and the Big Ten to keep promoting the 2 usuals and then to make sure that Illinois is on people's radar.
You've got to, right?
Now, Illinois looks nice, but they're going to enter some uncharted territory where they're going to play a road game next Saturday in Lincoln. They're not going to catch anybody by surprise.
No.
People are talking about Illinois. That doesn't happen very often. So now how do they deal with that when they've never had that heaped upon them?
Right.
It's
a whole different experience being suddenly almost a national media darling
when you've never, these guys have never been in this position.
No, not at all. I mean, even when they have had good teams, the 2007 Juice Williams team was never in a national title type conversation because they took a couple losses early. And then it was, they ended up making the Rose Bowl, but they were never in a spot where, if you win out, you have a shot at playing for a national title. They've never done that.
So here is the unfortunate news. And we'll ask Brett Cianci when he joins us here in a little bit more on the playoff. So there's some unfortunate news concerning a friend of the show. Bud Crawford will not be fighting Errol Spence in Vegas in November or December. So for all the fight fans out there that wanted a mega fight, a really, really mega fight, in a sport where we clamor for mega fights and we put them together, but there are so many moving pieces, Bud Crawford will not be fighting Errol Spence. Now, there is a win for the boxing fan here because Mike Coppinger, from ESPN, was the first to report this yesterday, that Bud Crawford has signed a contract to fight a pay-per-view fight here in Omaha on December 10th.
Mm-hmm.
So he is going to fight David Avanesian.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. So maybe, this is good for fight fans here because, as Bud has risen up, he's not fighting in Omaha like he did, or, the one time he went down to Lincoln and fought. So that's a win for here.
Yeah.
And he's going to get an 8-figure payday.
Which is good.
That's what Mike Coppinger is reporting, but it's still not spent. So maybe. And Bud was I think Bud, he he crossed a lot of things to make sure that this fight could happen with Spence, and it didn't. So maybe next year, after this fight is through, but I believe, Ravi, Bud Crawford will go a whole year without fighting.
Yeah, he last fought in November, so it'll be just over a calendar year, which is part of the reason that this is happening, because the Spence fight conversations or the discussions, whatever, were dragging on to the point where it wasn't likely they were going to be able to face each other until spring at the earliest. And Bud did not want to go, almost a year and a half at that point between fights. So he puts this on the schedule. The hope is, and again, it's a hope because these boxing super fights are so difficult to put together. Doesn't seem like they should be, but they are. And so the hope is, maybe late summer next year, early fall next year, they actually do get things done where they've got, not that they haven't had years to put this together anyway, but hopefully after Bud's next fight, he is able to get things worked out with the Spence camp, and we're looking at a 2023 summer or fall super fight with Spence. But I'm excited that he'll be back in Omaha. It's been 4 or 5 years since he's been in Omaha, or at least in the area. I'm going to try and go. I went to one of them, I want to say like 2016 when he had one here. Really fun experience. Really glad I was able to go. I'll try and go again. So that part I'm excited about, because obviously a Spence fight was not going to be here.
Dang, I just saw where I'm at.
Where you're at?
I'm in Bozeman, Montana.
Oh, no. That's a bummer.
Why am I going to Bozeman? For God's sake. $39.95. So save up. Now, this is a quote from Bud. Quote, I agreed to all of their bull, and they've been dragging their ass for months. Spence was nowhere to be found while I was trying to make the deal. I explained to Al Heyman and Errol that I was going to fight before the end of the year. Since they want to continue to drag their ass, I'm going to go fight another champion who actually has the balls to fight me.
He's not pulling any punches on Spence, and he hasn't for a while.
Yeah, he said his opponent that now he's agreed to here in Omaha on the 10th of December. Very tough task. He's knocked out his last of 6 opponents, and this guy is dangerous. Once I'm successful against him, my plan is still the same. Whoop Errol Spence's ass.
It does.
That's not bad. He got a couple of ass references in 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, I think we got 4 in there. That's a good ratio.
Oh, you're reading song lyrics for
and listen, obviously I'm biased towards the Crawford camp here, but it really does seem like Spence is not motivated to make this fight happen. Am I leaning too far to my bias there, or does that seem legitimate? Because I think Crawford will absolutely wants to fight.
I mean, Bud Crawford isn't getting any younger.
Yeah.
And I think he made some sacrifice. I know he wants to get paid. They both want to get paid.
Yeah.
And he made some sacrifices to try and get this done. And it's just too bad. I mean, that's, people that are out on boxing are like, you know what? This would be a great fight, but is it ever going to happen? Because there's so many people that are involved, but hopefully it happens in the spring, because now Spence will have to fight in between then
to stay fresh.
And maybe in the spring. So there is the win part of it that Bud Crawford will fight right here in Omaha on the 10th of December. It will be pay-per-view, and it should be sold out pretty quick at the CHI.
Yeah, because it'll, in all likelihood, the last time he'll fight in Omaha, I would guess. I mean, it just considering his profile and the types of fights that he's getting moving forward, even if Spence never decides to fight him, I didn't think he was ever going to fight in Omaha again. So I am excited about that part of it. But, the Spence fight getting kind of pulled out from under us is pretty disappointing.
That is a cheap pay-per-view.
It is. It's about half of what you normally pay.
I mean, that shows you where he's fighting.
Shows you, it shows the opponent that he's fighting more than anything. The Spence one was going to be at least 80.
But he's still getting 8 figures, so.
Hey, get that bag, my guy.
All right, 7:18. Brett Ciancia is coming up here in a little bit. Also, Lee Sterling within the hour. Mike Sauter stops by tonight. Is the last night of regular season football. There's a lot of playoff movement on the line. And then Mike Schaefer stops by as well. We'll get his thoughts mid-season on what is ahead for Nebraska in their last 5 games. A path to 3 more wins. Is it attainable? And then Matt Verzal with his thoughts on life in general as they get ready. Scott has a monster game tonight against Gross, who is unbeaten.
Yeah.
Playoffs are going to be really, really good. So Scott and Gross play tonight, which is this little budding rivalry.
It is. A couple of Catholic schools going at it.
Yeah. Some think that some kids who should go to Gross Catholic went to Scott. But that should be a really good football game. Scott, as I mentioned, Gross is unbeaten, and they've been good all year with a heavy senior class. Scott's played a lot better of late.
Yeah, they're starting to get together.
All right, there's Ravi. I'm Gary. Jimmy here as well. Again, Brett Ciancia is here in a little bit. Well, more on the playoff and the weekend. That will include Adrian Martinez in a primetime game. 138 dropbacks so far this year for Martinez. 0 interceptions. Brett's coming up from Pick Six Previews in about 15 minutes on 1620 The Zone. All right, the NBA season is well underway. Just don't tell the Lakers or the Sixers, or tell them that the season has started. And you can start your season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers get $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just use promo code ZONE to get signed up. Plus, all customers get 3 months of the NBA League Pass when you make a $5 bet on the NBA, courtesy of FanDuel. That is a heck of a deal. So you can watch all the games, and you can bet on everything. So you're watching your League Pass, and you've got your FanDuel app, and you're a winner, and you'll get your winnings paid instantly. So don't miss your chance to get $150 in free bets, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass with promo code ZONE. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 over, present Iowa. New customers, first online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable. Free bets that expire in 14 days. Existing customers, $5 NBA wager required. Limit 1 pass per customer across both offers. Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF. NBA League Pass. Local blackout restrictions apply.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on The Crossover.
I was DD for some nice young co-eds. They wanted to go to a frat house. They didn't want to let me in the frat house. I said, no, that's not the way this is going down, gentlemen.
Nice.
They said something to me. I said something profane, and it was go time.
Let's go.
That's an honorable reason to get in a fight. All of mine were exceedingly dumb.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast, presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch. From the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Potential for a top 10 day Friday with mainly sunny skies, light winds throughout the day, highs in the upper 70s. Cooling off overnight, mainly clear skies, lows in the lower 40s. Mostly sunny, breezy, and warmer for Saturday, highs in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden, AC, heating, plumbing, and more. Time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown northbound along the JFK near 25th and Q Street. On Center, be prepared for just a little bit of slowdown from 192nd to 175th. Then along 204th, be prepared for some major slowdown from Harrison to Q Street. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Come on, when was the last time you had your Fernando's fix? It doesn't get any better than lunch, dinner, carry-out, even catering from Fernando's. Get your Fernando's fix. 114th and Dodge, 75th and Pacific, and FernandosOmaha.com.
At Sid Dillon Chevrolet, we prioritize you and your vehicle needs. Visit our dealerships to shop inventory or to order your new vehicle. Shop online at SidDillonChevy.com.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
Chevy, find new roads.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
At Lenahaw, our homegrown trees boast the most vibrant colors of fall, reds, yellows, and oranges. Shop our garden center today for the best selection of plant material and seasonal decor. When you think fall, think Lenahaw, 192nd and Center.
West Omaha, you're in for a treat. Cops is now open at 180th and Center. Famous for their pizza and wings, but with their new location comes an extensive new menu that includes salmon, certified Angus beef fillets, ribeyes, New York strips, several pasta dishes, salads, and an extensive variety of shareable appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Now open at Shadow Lake Town Center and 180th and Center. Click copspizza.com to see the menu. Pizza, steaks, pasta, salads, and so much more.
Can I get the sales projections for the Springfield, Bristol, and Fairview stores?
Val's Froyo Palace is dishing out 3 more locations.
Jody, have you lined up interviews?
They need 3 new store managers before they have a meltdown.
And remember, they need at least 5 years experience.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The Madness Haunted House will terrify you to your very soul. Come, your pants all over the 2 acres of fear at Pioneer Trail Orchard, screaming for 30 minutes until you can scream no more. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram, fearthemad.com.
Greg Gonzalez retired as a tenured and decorated Deputy Chief of Police at the Omaha Police Department. Greg has over 28 years of experience and successfully climbed the ranks from street cop to Deputy Police Chief in charge of hundreds of police officers. Greg holds a bachelor's in criminal justice and a master's in public administration. Greg has the education, executive leadership, and budget experience needed to manage the Douglas County Sheriff's Department. Greg has helped recruit and hire over 450 officers. Greg Gonzalez will hire and train deputies to patrol your neighborhoods and keep you safe at night. Greg is the only candidate who has the executive leadership experience at the ranks of deputy chief, captain, and lieutenant. His opponent does not have the temperament, education, rank, budget, or supervisory experience needed to successfully lead the entire Douglas County Sheriff's Department. Hire the most qualified person for the job. Vote Greg Gonzalez for Douglas County Sheriff.
Hi, I'm Greg Gonzalez, and I approve this message. Paid for by Greg for Sheriff.
1620 The Zone.
All right, Brett Cianci from Pick Six Previews coming up here in a little bit. Scott Docterman has got an article on The Athletic this morning about the schedule for the Big Ten that is slated to be released probably sometime next week and how it might look a little bit different. And, of course, the conference will look different moving forward and their different media partners. But he thinks that there will be more Week 0 games from the Big Ten. You've had back-to-back years where there's been a conference game on Week 0. You also had Illinois play again this year on Week 0.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Ten wants to be out in front. They've got to create some intriguing inventory for their media partners. Plus, they like the attention.
Yeah.
That I could see the Big Ten says, you know what, we'll take a Week 0 game. I also would not be surprised if more Big Ten teams make a European trip, not necessarily to Dublin, Ireland, but play somewhere else. Like every 2 or 3 years, they make a trip. But I think Kevin Warren, now that he's putting on his marketing hat, wants to market the Big Ten and be a little bit unique because you got to stand out from the behemoth of the SEC, which it seems like every time you flip on CBS on a Saturday, the ratings are through the roof and the games deliver because last week was a monster game, monster ratings. I imagine LSU and Ole Miss will draw some eyeballs. Not as many, but they will
That'll be a good
do really, really well. So the Big Ten wants to, the Big Ten has a strong product, but really they have a strong product from only about 4 or 5 teams that they want to stand out from the rest. So I could see the Big Ten saying, you know what? We love our Week 1 conference games.
Yeah.
Let's start with a conference game, or one of our members is playing Week 0 in a foreign land.
So make the case for me, because I guess I understand the Week 0 thing 100%. You want the attention all to yourself. You kind of want a dedicated Big Ten holiday, if you will, on Week 0. Totally understand that. I don't necessarily understand the push for Europe in the sense that what additional does that bring you? Does that bring you additional hype? Because I know why college basketball teams go play over there, because you get some different competition when they have those, off-season trips to other countries, and you have potential recruiting ramifications there as well. That's not really a factor in college football. So make the pitch to me on the Europe
uniqueness, different, stand out. Not a normal on-campus game to kick off the season. If you're going to kick off the season, kick it off in a big way.
That's the whole
it's all about promotion and marketing.
Just a marketing.
Yeah. And then experiences. And you're different. You're playing in a big game that you are expanding the Big Ten footprint. You've got your fan base that may travel like Nebraska's did.
Sure.
You've got the unique. I think Kevin Warren is also into creating experiences for student athletes,
which is fair. I definitely appreciate
more likely, I got to think that 96% of Nebraska's football roster that went to Dublin will never go to Europe again.
And certainly the first time they've probably been to Ireland or maybe overseas at all.
Now, for anybody that would be entertaining a Ireland trip, and here's another part of week 0 and more trips overseas for the Big Ten is the organizers in Dublin are, now that we're past COVID and those travel restrictions have been lifted, they're going to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
And it might not just be the Big Ten. It might not just be Notre Dame. It might be other schools that they court to come and play in their stadium or somewhere else to play a college football game in London. But I think anybody that would be looking at this, that your athletic director along with your football coach would agree to it, I think before you ever said yes, I would look at my schedule and make sure that I'm not playing week 1.
Yes, you want to bye week.
Or I have the opportunity to move that game well in advance so I don't get stuck like Nebraska did of going over there and coming back and playing right away. I mean, Northwestern, not that it benefited Northwestern, but that was the ideal thing to do.
Yes.
Is you go over and you play, and then you don't have to rush back and get ready to play another game. And so you can get your feet back on the ground when you get back to the U.S. and then go back into a normal week of preparation. So I would do that if I was any team that was approached to play in one of those games, because financially it's pretty good.
It's pretty lucrative for them to go over there.
They take care of it.
They make it worth your while. So that makes sense, I guess. So I was thinking in terms of, you said Kevin Warren's trying to expand the Big Ten footprint, and maybe I'm thinking too small here. It just seemed unlikely to me. Like, I have a hard time envisioning a world in which Europe regularly cares about Big Ten football, where they, to the point where it would make a difference in TV dollars and things like that. Like, that's why the NBA makes so many pushes into like China, and there's been a huge controversy there, and for other things don't want to get into, but it's a market of almost 2 billion people, right, that they can sell things to. I guess I have is that part of the draw to Europe for college football, or is it more about the experience and marketing?
Experience, and people that are over in Europe that run it want to bring American football, regardless if it's the NFL, as we've seen. And the NFL is getting more into Europe.
Mm-hmm.
People that would like college football to have a foothold.
Okay. That's fair. I was just curious. I didn't totally get I know for Nebraska specifically in Dublin that the organizers of that event really pushed for, or have pushed for, events in the past. I guess I just didn't realize that was a larger Europe thing that might be happening.
No, and they're from the understanding after that game, because it did well on TV, it was well attended by Nebraska fans, is they're going to push for more games on a regular basis. And they already had, and then it got slowed down because of COVID.
Sure.
So they want to have a game every year. And I think Kevin Warren would be open to, all right, every 3 or 4 years, we'll get you a Big Ten team. Maybe not in a conference game, but we'll have a Big Ten team come over there and play.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just make sure you're not playing week 1. Make sure you are not playing week 1.
You have to have that bye week. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. I don't know why Nebraska did it that way.
Most teams will lose that game after.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing they were playing North Dakota, a not very good FCS team, because otherwise, especially with the way Nebraska was going at the time, that's an easy way to catch an L. You don't have to.
All right, Brett Ciancia from Pick Six Previews coming up next.
Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620, The Zone.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory, explore payment options, and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Hi, guys. It's Andrew with Brookside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Brookside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 402-671-7777. That's 402-671-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Brookside Medical Clinic now. 402-671-7777.
The big box stores have a secret. When you walk out the door with a new purchase, that's where the service ends. At Ty's Outdoor Power and Service, you get great deals on brands like Hustler, Toro, Honda, and Steel. Plus, you get a dedicated, experienced service center. With annual maintenance and repairs, your equipment will last longer and perform when you need it most. See us in Lincoln, Omaha, or Gretna and get 10% off your residential service. Visit TysOutdoorPower.com, promo code radio, or mention radio to repeat.
With some big time events coming up, including the Luke Combs concert at the CHI Health Center right here in Omaha, October 28th and 29th. Be sure to check out my friends at ticketsforless.com. It's not all about sports, it's about shows, and it's also about finding the best tickets at ticketsforless.com. So whether you want to see the pageantry of Memorial Stadium on a Saturday, catch a game at Arrowhead Stadium, Tickets for Less is your source for the best tickets. Also, without those crazy per ticket fees you'll pay on other sites, trust me, you'll keep going back to ticketsforless.com. Compare and save the day at ticketsforless.com.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike. Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power and savings with style. Not to mention top tech to help keep you connected. Plush premium interiors and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years, with a hybrid or electric vehicle built for every driver. Seriously, dear gas prices? Do you really think you could stand in our way? Think again. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers. Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Corwin Toyota of Bellevue.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
1620 The Zone.
All right, another weekend of college football, bye week for Nebraska. So you can watch your favorite coaching candidate coach this weekend, unless they also are on a bye.
Ooh.
Wink, wink, nod, nod. He never takes a week off. Brett Ciancia from Pick Six Previews joins us. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. A crowded Saturday schedule here. It's just fun. And, I spend months writing my book and researching. And then once the season kicks off, it's just flies by the blink of an eye. I hate to think we're already halfway done the season, but enjoying it. Hope you guys are too.
Well, we're closing in on the first playoff rankings that will be released. Do you want to talk playoff football? Do you want to talk about 3 potential one-loss SEC teams taking up 3 of the 4 spots?
Oh, my. What's funny is we delayed the playoff talk longer than ever, which these fall Saturdays are packed with great games and rivalries and conferences. Come here.
Let's do that.
Just football special Saturday.
Hey, Brett, we're going to do something. We're going to put you on hold. Jimmy's going to talk to you. We got to get reestablished here with a better connection through Brett, because he's got good content and we don't need to have him every other word.
Yes, yeah, he is right though. It does seem like we've waited a little longer on playoff talk than normal. Is that because it's been a little chaotic, or what do you
mean around here?
Well, here it's the coaching search has dominated everything. But nationally, is that true, or am I in a bubble?
No. I think you're onto something, because there's no. I mean, who's the most dominating team in college football that when you say that, you agree to? Ohio State, but now. Yeah. So Ohio State got taken through the ringer here on their bye week because they're like, oh, who have they played?
Right.
Okay, but who they played, they've crushed.
They have, yes.
Okay.
Which you can't say about everyone.
So people have a knock against Michigan. Of course, Alabama fell off. I mean, Tennessee, there's a lot to like about Tennessee. Georgia, when you think that Georgia is not Georgia, because we compare them to last year, Georgia still is winning football games. So there's no just overwhelming team.
Yeah, I agree.
So that may have a little bit to do with it. All right, we have Brett back. Sorry about that, Brett. But as we talk about playoff talk and the season moving along, let's quickly jump into, let's start in the Big Ten, and let's start at a place that's close to you. Penn State, Minnesota. The story out of Ann Arbor was not necessarily Michigan running over Penn State with the ground game, but that Penn State players were throwing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the tunnel. What happens tomorrow night in prime time with whiteout with Penn State and Minnesota?
Yeah, well, it's an important spot here for Penn State. They don't want to drop 2 in a row. They don't want to eliminate themselves from conference play, from conference title contention. So it's a must-win. You get a whiteout environment here with Minnesota coming in. Minnesota has some problems of their own, too. Their offense is really stagnant right now. Struggled against Purdue, and then last week really struggled against Illinois. Quarterback injuries and problems there at Minnesota. So there's an opportunity for Penn State to bounce back after the physical beatdown at Michigan. And I think for Coach Franklin, he's got to have this one. I mean, these are the games you have to win. Obviously, the Ohio States and Michigans of the world are reaches right now, but you got to beat Minnesota at home at a whiteout.
Brett, I want to ask you about Illinois. You mentioned them beating Minnesota pretty convincingly last week. I thought they'd be good under Brett Bielema. I thought it was a good hire and that they'd be quite a bit better in year 2. I obviously did not see this. When you were doing your book before the season, where did you think Illinois' ceiling was for this year?
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a chance to talk with Coach Bielema in the preseason, and he was talking about revamping his offense. He called it tempo and pro style, and it's really clicking right now. Chase Brown, I think the NCAA leader in rushing, but I think overall what we took for granted was he just built a competent roster and a competent team. They're just playing solid football. There's nothing too flashy. There's no one position group that's a nation's best or anything, but it's just a solid team, and that's enough to start to stack a lot of W's in the Big Ten West. Should be actually pretty encouraging for Nebraska fans, knowing that if you hit on the next hire, just have the guys playing strong, good football, physical football in the trenches, you can win a lot of games. So, yeah, right now they're top 5 in my defensive metrics, which is crazy to think. I've done Pick Six previews now for 11 seasons. Illinois has never been this high up in any of my readings. So, congrats, Coach Bielema, and I think they have a lot of W's left on the table.
Hey, it could be very scary in Columbus tomorrow. People that I guess don't want Ohio State to be number 1 or Stroud to be the Heisman frontrunner are looking for knocks against Ohio State. Yeah, they're just playing the schedule that is put in front of them. They can't, they have no impact if Notre Dame has completely fallen off the map. Where do you stand on Ohio State right now? Coming off this bye, ahead of their game against Iowa tomorrow, and then the schedule kind of gets into a flow where here comes some other Eastern Division teams leading up to the big game in about a month.
Yeah, so I caught some flack this week by moving Tennessee above Ohio State. I put Tennessee number 2, Ohio State 3 on my FWA Super 16 poll, and that was more so just a reward for Tennessee. I mean, they went in and beat Alabama. They're putting up incredible numbers, and I noted that Ohio State's schedule is backloaded. I'm very fluid with my ratings, and as Ohio State starts to stack some ranked wins, I'll be fluid to moving them up. But Ohio State looks like a top 3 team right now, and any way you cut it. Even when you adjust for their opponents that are a little bit weaker so far. And best offense in the country by my numbers. The key with Ohio State is their defense. One of the most improved defenses out there. They're up there in the top 10 of my defensive numbers, which last year was the problem for them. So it's the Jim Knowles effect, one of the best coordinators in the game. And so against Iowa this week, you'll have the number 1 offense in America against a top 5 defense with Iowa. The game will be won, though, on the opposite side, where you have a really, really weak and struggling Iowa offense against that improved Ohio State D. So I think Ohio State wins it convincingly, and they're going to really get to the back half of their schedule here with some big games coming up.
Brett, I wanted to ask you about UCLA, probably one of the more surprise undefeated teams left in the country. What has Chip Kelly done there to go from struggling and kind of on the hot seat to all of a sudden one of the last undefeated teams remaining this year?
Yeah, well, UCLA is an interesting story because if you look at their recruiting rankings, they've actually fallen down since the Chip Kelly hire. I mean, before him, they were landing top 10, top 15 classes almost every year. When you just look geographically, being in Southern California and LA, they're able to walk around the block and sign 5 stars. But with Chip Kelly in there, the recruiting actually tanked. What he's done instead is really hit the transfer portal, but not just by quantity, but by quality. He's really hit on his transfers to come in. He'll sign 10 of them, and 8 of them will start, and they're all proven products. So you see it in the backfield with Zach Charbonnet. You see it at receiver with Bobo from Duke. Both the Murphy brothers on the defensive line from North Texas. I mean, these guys are all hits. So, and then of course the other thing is just staying veteran. I mean, they took some lumps when they were 2017, 2018, really young team, but they're all super seniors now. DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson's the key example of quarterback, 5th-year guy. So physical team, strong defense. It's really balanced, and they look like a playoff or a Pac-12 contender right now.
Hey, isn't it interesting? And we've talked about DTR around here. He's been at UCLA for 9 years. Isn't it interesting? Because this is a matchup of one guy that stuck around against Bo Nix, who has found a second life after Auburn. But isn't it amazing that UCLA coaches, they openly courted Dylan Gabriel to replace DTR. And right now, you could make a case that at least DTR deserves some Heisman Trophy attention. That's just wild how it works sometimes when you stick with the tried and true guy that has played a lot of football for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the quarterback carousel is out of control these days. This one reminds me a little bit of Kenny Pickett at Pitt last year, where he was a 5th-year guy coming back. A lot of the fans were tired of him after the first 3 years, and he hunkered down and got better and better. And then his senior year was incredible performance, a Heisman candidate, an ACC championship, and then a first-round draft pick. So DTR, yeah, he's bet on himself again for a 5th year. And if you watch UCLA play at all, I'm not sure if you guys have seen their games. This guy's fired up. I mean, he's yelling all over the whole game on the sidelines, every play. So some of the most emotion I've seen from a quarterback so far this year. So it looks like he's all taking that personally and playing his best football.
Hey, let's stick with a veteran quarterback and one that is well known around here. Great game, primetime, FS1. Number 17, K-State goes on the road. Number 8, TCU. Games in Fort Worth. Max Duggan, who is from Council Bluffs, bothered by his shoulder a little bit, but I mean, as long as you can throw to Quentin Johnson, you got a chance. What are your thoughts? And you and I have talked about this, about Adrian Martinez. He's only one of 2 quarterbacks with no interceptions. He also has 546 rushing yards. That is the most in Power 5 through 6 games since Jalen Hurts in 2019. He's got Deuce Vaughn around him. He's got a good offensive line. He's got a good system. This seems to be another stage for Adrian Martinez. Your quick thoughts on what you've seen out of him compared to what you saw in the previous 4 years here, and also how this game plays out.
Yeah, so I think with Adrian Martinez, and from the viewpoint of your Nebraska fans, is that right now he's all the good with none of the bad. I mean, the turnovers are gone, the fourth quarter meltdowns are gone. In fact, they're strengths now. He's taking care of the ball. He won that Oklahoma game late in the fourth quarter. So it's kind of like Kansas State got all the good and none of the bad. It's kind of crazy. But, credit to him for sticking it out for a fifth season. He's playing his best football yet, surrounded himself with a good line. And like you said, with Deuce Vaughn, one of the best playmakers in the country. So they're a solid team. I mean, you could probably talk about 4 teams competing for the Big 12. They're definitely one of them right now. But we'll be tested against TCU and undefeated. Max Duggan's another guy, a really physical, fast runner. And really, Quentin Johnston's one of the best receivers in the country. That game last week was one of the best performances I'd seen by a receiver. It might have been 2 weeks ago by now, but I have TCU winning this one by 7. That's my projected line right now, and I think TCU is just a notch above. But we'll see. This could be I don't want to claim it now, but this could be a future Big 12 title matchup.
Brett, another one of the big games and kind of an undefeated SEC team that with Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia is flying under the radar a little bit is Ole Miss, which is funny to say about anyone involving Lane Kiffin. Has really tough matchup against LSU this week. Ole Miss is doing a little bit differently than they have in the past, a little bit more running game, a little bit more defense. Do you think that makes them a more legitimate contender than some of the Ole Miss teams we've seen recently?
Yeah, well, they definitely found some balance. They showed they were able to lay up the scoreboard against Georgia Tech, 42-0, but then also able to win a grinder against Kentucky, a very physical team, 22-19. So, they're doing it in both facets. It's still the great offense. It might be more rushing than usual, but it's just as efficient. Top 10 in my numbers on offense. The defense, too, has improved. And, a team flying on the radar, I agree with you there. I think the wrong team is favored Saturday. I have Ole Miss by a field goal. And when you look at the numbers right now, it's LSU by almost a field goal at home. So I think the road team should be favored in this case, although it is Death Valley. And, you're right about this team flying on the radar. And this is why we have all those SEC scenarios right now where you talk about, I want to counter with some Big Ten scenarios. How about if you have Illinois, Ohio State all win out?
Yeah, Ravi brought that up
start
earlier.
packing it with Big Ten teams.
All right, so let's do just scenarios. Let's just play this game. More of a reaction and a fit. Lane Kiffin to Nebraska or Mark Stoops to Nebraska?
Well, I think that Lane Kiffin just brings more of that social media and fan attention. He's way more, I don't know what the term is, like love or hate. Mark Stoops is very flat line. He's very consistent. You know what you're getting with Mark Stoops. It's going to be a physical team, and they're going to take a couple years to develop, but he's going to start to, get the most out of his players. Lane Kiffin will bring the circus right away. I mean, he calls himself the portal king, the transfer portal king. So he's going to be all over the country in his private jet recruiting, and hey, it works. I mean, he was able to sign the number 2 transfer class for Ole Miss. So, it's 2 completely different personalities and personas of the program.
Hey, why don't we talk about Clemson at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's just little old Clemson, as Dabo says. You almost forget about them. Undefeated right now. A couple close games this year. It's not like the old days where they're blowing everybody out in the ACC. A couple one-score games. Wake Forest went to overtime. The Florida State game last week got a little close at the end there. BC was tied at half. So, they're moving along. The offense is a little bit improved from last year, which was a key. That's what held them back in 2021. So, they're improving. A couple tests still remaining in a crowded ACC. I don't know that Syracuse will be the team to knock them off, but it's going to happen somewhere. I don't think they're going to go undefeated. But until then, they are still a playoff contender.
Texas and Oklahoma State, big matchup in Stillwater this week. Is Texas for real, or are they fooling us again?
I think they're a strong, competent team this year. I mean, especially with Quinn Ewers back in the lineup. My game grader formula loves Texas. They have them in the top 10 right now, despite the 2 losses. I mean, you look at the Alabama loss was by a point, and the Texas Tech loss was a field goal. I mean, they're right there. You could argue with Ewers healthy in both that they might be undefeated right now. So my numbers love Texas to beat Oklahoma State. I agree. I took a lot of heat on Twitter by Oklahoma State fans because I've really rated them low this year. But when you look at their games, I mean, they're getting outgained by 200 yards, 300 yards. I do love Spencer Sanders, but that defense is one of the, taking the worst regression from 2021 to 22. So without Jim Knowles. So I think Texas wins it here solidly.
Hey, Tennessee plays Tennessee Martin this weekend. Such a letdown from the Alabama game. Alabama has Mississippi State, but let's focus on what happened last Saturday in Knoxville. Give me of your top 3 things or the craziest things that happened in that game as you watched a 52-49 game, one at the buzzer unfold, where Tennessee won for the first time in 16 years.
Yeah, I think, all right, so there's so much to break down from this game. I think one moment was it was a muff punt where Alabama didn't touch the ball, but one of their blockers ran in inexplicably and dived for the ball and fumbled it. You saw Saban have a meltdown there. I think it was 28-10 at the time. that was a moment because you never see Alabama beating themselves. So that was important. Then I thought late in the game when it was tied and Hendon Hooker fumbled the mesh with the running back on the option play, and Alabama scooped and scored. You thought, here we go again. This is classic Tennessee. This is classic Alabama. They always find a way to lose or win, depending on your side of the rivalry. And then I guess the third moment would have been that blocked field goal at the end. After watching it a couple times, that guy definitely got a hand on it, Byron Young.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me of the 2009 game when Mount Cody jumped the line and blocked Tennessee's game winner. So it had been that long, and they finally got on that stage again. This time the block kick sailed through. So I think this was the biggest game of the season, just on a point of the rivalry's finally back. I mean, to the younger generation, we had never seen that be a competitive rivalry. So to see that happen, and then to see the Tennessee field storming and the goalpost being torn down and thrown in the lake, it felt very old-fashioned. I mean, that's what college football used to be like. So really cool moment.
Brett, I wanted to ask you about Alabama for a minute in that game, because I made the observation while I was watching it that it felt like Alabama was doing a lot of not very Alabama things, whether it was the penalties, whether you mentioned the punt that was muffed, whatever you want to call it. There was a lot of kind of seemingly uncharacteristic Alabama mistakes. Is that something you're at all concerned about in the long term for this year, or is that just kind of a one-off against Tennessee?
Well, they've had some close games here. We talked the Texas game, and Texas A&M really came down to the last snap. The Aggies were throwing into the end zone. So this team looks like they're beatable more than ever under Nick Saban since probably the 2010 team. But yeah, you're right. Some sloppy mistakes, a lot of it being pass interferences and calls on their secondary. So that might be an area to exploit, just like Tennessee did. I mean, Jalen Hylett, 5 receiving touchdowns in a game against Alabama. It's just incredible. Most points allowed by Alabama in a game since 1906. So yeah, this is they're beatable, and it is uncharacteristic. It was kind of funny that, well, I don't want to say funny, but how they missed that game-winning field goal. It reminded me of the old days where that was the only weakness for years under Alabama was the kicking. And so yeah, all the old things are back for Alabama, and they look beatable. So we'll see if the Pirate Mike Leach can start throwing the ball in the secondary and keep it rolling here.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting game. I also everybody's talking about Hooker this week, and again they should, but man, Tennessee in a short amount of time they recruited well, and Heupel walked into a situation where they were not desolate in the offensive line room. I think Tennessee's offensive line has come together pretty quick, and that was a huge part of what they did. I don't know that Will Anderson even got to breathe on Hooker the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge testament to the player development and the way that he really fixed that program overnight with Josh Heupel, because we forget how bad a situation he walked into. That was the big transfer portal year where I think it was 10, 15 guys all transferred out. It wasn't backups either. It was star players, a lot of them to Oklahoma, Henry T over to Alabama. And then not just that, but to change the whole style of the offense overnight. It was a 1980s I formation, slow-paced offense under the previous regime, and then Heupel comes in with the hyper tempo, spread out offense, and they click right away. So yeah, one of the best coaching jobs. I mean, I think it's getting enough credit finally, but it definitely deserves it.
Hey, Brett, as always, we appreciate it. Have a great weekend of football.
Thanks, guys. You too. Enjoy.
Brett Cianza from Pick 6 Previews. We'll keep this going. Now we'll dive into some. Let's make some money. Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports is coming up next. I know you got a thought after something. I saw your body language. We'll get into that coming up in the next hour. But coming up next, Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have one accident to report near 99th and Fort, so please be cautious if you are in that area. Then along L, be prepared for some significant slowdown near 90th, and along Highway 370, be prepared for some major slowdowns from 150th to 132nd. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Nanfito Heating and Cooling.
Firing up your furnace? Nanfito Heating and Cooling, a Rude Pro partner, will get your furnace in working order so you aren't left in the cold with residential installation, repair, and maintenance on all brands. Call Nanfito Heating and Cooling 402-515-5050.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike. Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power and savings with style. Not to mention top tech to help keep you connected. Plush premium interiors and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. With a hybrid or electric vehicle built for every driver. Seriously, dear gas prices? Do you really think you could stand in our way? Think again. Toyota Hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers. Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Corwin Toyota of Bellevue.
No matter how dark it gets, there's always a sunrise, a warm bed, a warm meal, and hope. Sienna Francis House serves hope to those experiencing homelessness and addiction. Every day, we provide more than 1,000 meals and serve nearly 500 guests in our emergency shelter, Miracles Recovery Program, and supportive housing apartments, and help our guests navigate a path to permanent housing. Learn more at siennafrancis.org.
When it's hot, the last thing you want is your home's AC to quit on you. At 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, our team of comfort specialists take the frustration out of the equation. From simple repairs to more complex fixes, we'll get you cool and comfortable quickly. Call 402-788-1234 or visit McCarthy's1hour.com for $50 off any repair.
Always on time, or you don't pay time.
Terms and conditions may apply. Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
It's the final weekend to save up to 50% during 42 Degrees Pipes and Vaporizers sale, and it's going on right now at all 42 Degree locations. That's right. Save up to 50% off on the largest selection of pipes and vaporizers only at the source. 42 Degrees.
At Dingman's Collision Center, you voted them first place in Best in Omaha for the past 17 years. So they want to say thank you for choosing the Dingman family and their incredible technicians to repair your vehicles. At Dingman's, they'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal. This week's half-off deal from Langfeld Overhead Doors gets you a half-horsepower chain LiftMaster door opener, one remote, and installation valued at $450 for only $225. A LiftMaster garage door opener with remote plus installation half off for $225 is this week's half-off deal.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
All right, the NFL last night, you have the Cardinals beat the Saints, and then Christian McCaffrey goes from Charlotte to Santa Clara. That's not bad for some people, and a chance to go to the Super Bowl as we welcome in, and let's win some money this week. Good week last week for Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports, went 2-3. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yeah, I think I get more people that the last couple of weeks that asked me who's going to be the next coach in Nebraska than anything else. So, I've heard as many as like 20, 30 different names. It's crazy.
Hey, Lee, you must be hosting a sports talk show in Omaha. Hey, so what? No, so we haven't really talked about this. You know this industry. Yeah. If you had a pick, knowing what you know about Nebraska, the current landscape of college football, and in the Big Ten, if you had a pick, who would it be?
There's a lot of guys you wish for. Believe it or not, I think the guy is Lance Leipold.
The name we hear a lot.
Really good.
Yeah.
So, he's not the sexy hire, but we've kind of been through it here at Miami. We're at the mountaintop like you guys, and have fallen way off. It's not a top 10 job anymore. This isn't.
But would you consider, and I know he's part of the family, Cristobal was a sexy hire for the U?
I think Mario, in the end, is probably going to do the job. Do I think he's a good game coach? No.
Yeah.
But neither was Butch Davis. Butch Davis would be jumping up and down looking to call timeouts after he got a first down in college. he didn't realize that the clock stopped. But it's about recruiting, and he is a master recruiter, and eventually he's going to turn it around. He just doesn't have any talent. Miami last year had one kid. I mean, they thought a bunch of kids might go 4th, 5th round. One kid get drafted in the 7th round. I think they had 6 or 7 guys go to NFL camps. Kid in the 7th round is like 3rd string, barely on the Green Bay Packers roster. Every other kid that was a free agent didn't make a roster. And I think it's going to be they might get a couple kids get drafted in the 4th, 5th round. There's just not much talent there, just like Nebraska.
In the game of college football, week to week, maybe hour to hour, if you like your coach or not, it has not been a good week for James Franklin of Penn State. Oh, by the way, they have a whiteout primetime game. Here comes PJ Fleck in Minnesota off of 2 straight losses. What do you think happens in Happy Valley tomorrow night?
So also remember defensive coordinator, Manny Diaz.
Yeah.
He had 2 weeks to prepare for Michigan. And Michigan is really good on offense. I mean, their offensive line, Blake Corum, how he didn't stack the box is just shocking. So I think Minnesota is going to be ready for this game. They lost last week because they committed 3 turnovers. When you're 3-0 at a disadvantage as far as turnovers, you're not going to win many games. They ran the ball for 5.9 yards per carry at Illinois. I think it's a tight game. I think the wrong team's favored. I like Minnesota here outright, 24-20.
Wow. All right. Another Big Ten game. Much bigger line on this one. Ohio State, who is rolling, has a huge number against a struggling Iowa team. Which side of that big number do you like to be on?
Yeah, and it might be the first time ever we've seen a team be dead last in offense and number 1 in defense. But Iowa's going to have to, their defense is going to have to, hold the fort here, as they say. And they have nothing to lose. Are they as talented as Ohio State? No. Ohio State is really dynamic. They can score quick with all those receivers and their quarterback. But I don't think they're great in the trenches like Michigan. So Iowa, like I said, nothing to lose. I think they're going to slow the game down. We're going to see a lot of run, and maybe an occasional run, and pass on 3rd and long to a running back or wide receiver just trying to get a first down. They've got to shake things up here, put in a couple new plays, do some down, out, and ups, and try some different things, take chances here. They are 13-3 against the spread, getting 6 or more points. Ohio State with Ryan Day, just 7-1 against the spread, laying 24 points. I think this line should be like 23, not 29. I'm going to say Ohio State wins 31-10, but the Hawkeyes cover.
Hey, this game in the NFL, the line crashed a little bit after the Broncos Monday night game because of Russell Wilson and the hamstring injury. And not sure if Brett Rippon or Russell Wilson's going to start. Jets are they got people's attention. Broncos are now a 1-point favorite in Mile High. How do you see this one unfolding?
So the Jets drafted really well. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple guys. If you're a follower to the NFL and had a team and you're watching the draft, you want a bunch of those guys. They got Sauce Gardner, really good lockdown cornerback. He's taken on the number 1 receivers already. You got Breece Hall from Iowa State. Last 2 games, plus 120 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown. And what a game Quinnen Williams had last week on the defensive line. 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, a forced fumble, and a blocked field goal here. They are playing with confidence, 4-2, straight up 3-0 against the spread on the road for the first time since 2010. Another wrong team favorite. Jets get it done, 24-20.
Jets, Jets.
Staying in the NFL, we've got Dallas coming off of a loss to Philadelphia and Detroit. Looks like we're going to have Dak Prescott back after the infatuation with Cooper Rush is over. Dallas favored by 6. What are you looking at there?
Yeah, I was never one that thought Cooper Rush had a chance to stay as a starter long term. He's limited, and I'm being kind, and they had to, dial down the offensive game plan. Here's what's going on with Detroit. As unpopular as Matt Patricia was, he went 5-17 his last 22 games as a Lion head coach. Dan Campbell, pretty popular, but his record is 4-17-1, includes a 1-4 mark this year. I know DeAndre Swift will be back here, but they got shut out 29-0, just dominated last week. I think Dak's going to dial up his weapons here, and C.D. Lamb, Michael Gallup, Ezekiel Elliott, and Tony Pollard, who's a home run hitter at the running back position here. The right team is favored. Dallas by 2 touchdowns, 38-24.
All right, Lee, you've got a Chiefs fan, yours truly. Ravi is a Niner fan. He's elated about the trade last night to get McCaffrey. He's going to show up, maybe some red zone package. Now, San Francisco is beat up. Their injury situation is dire. Chiefs are coming off the game against the Bills. There is the fact of that injury situation on defense for the 49ers. They got to face Mahomes, but yet they still have a run game that could cause Kansas City problems. The Chiefs are a field goal favorite on the road. This is a big game. Andy Reid, I think there's very few games in his history of wins in Kansas City that are by 2 points or less. I've seen it at 2. You got it at 3. What happens on Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, it's come down actually to 2 points since the trade. I don't know if he can play. If he does, it'll be limited, probably 10 to 12 plays. You can learn that quick. But I just did a show less than an hour ago in Charlotte. They are excited. They think that they stole the trade for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th this year and a 5th next year. I don't think so. Those are late in the round. It could turn out to be nothing. So I think it's a really good trade for San Francisco. And San Francisco's running game does pose problems for Kansas City defense, that zone blitz, zone blocking offense. So I think that they will score some, but here's the biggest problem. San Francisco is so depleted on the offensive line, defensive line, and cornerback positions, especially at defensive line. Nick Bosa may not play. And if you're down 3 or 4 starters, 3 or 4 key guys on the defensive line against Patrick Mahomes, that spells trouble here. I think Kansas City pulls away late here, 38-25.
My man.
Yep.
All right, Lee, tell us about your game of the week and how can people get that?
Game of the week this week is going to be Wisconsin and Purdue. Wisconsin has dominated. I think they won 15 straight against Purdue. Does that continue, or is this the year that Purdue breaks through? Small line, 2.5. You want to get it for free? Call 800-400-9741. We'll give you the game on me. And what a run we're on. We won 8 out of the last 10 weeks in football and had another big week last week. Hit both of our biggest plays of the year with the Air Force and the Bills. You want to hop on board? Every sport's going on now. This is the best 3 weeks in sports. We have a UFC offer. 7 selections, Saturday morning. Starts 9 a.m. your time from Abu Dhabi. Just $17. We've won 4 of the last 5 UFC cards. You can get that. In football, Baker's dozen. 13 selections, combined college and pro, just $97. Or in the NFL, 5 selections, $55. Everything's up and available. ParamountSports.com.
Hey, Lee, it's always great. Have a wonderful weekend.
You two guys, take care.
Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports. There you go. Hopefully you'll win this weekend. Maybe our 4-quarter pick'em. Person will win this weekend. Tanner came close. Our guy Tanner went 3-1 last week.
That's a tough break. It's a tough break for Tanner.
Yeah. All right, 8:12. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Mike Sauter will join us again. Tonight is the last night of the regular season. There is a lot on the line for plenty of teams around the area. And then tomorrow morning, Nate Newhouse and his crew, they will go through all the numbers, and we will have a bracket. So I want to go back to something.
Yeah.
Brett Ciancia and our discussion about Tennessee. What is a thing that has been mentioned about Tennessee for a while, since the Phil Fulmer days with Peyton Manning and T. Martin, and then they've wandered through, the Dooley era, the Kiffin era.
Yeah.
You go, man, Tennessee should win.
Yeah.
They've won. They send guys to the league. You've heard the phrase sleeping giant. Do you know what is being used down the interstate from here? Nebraska is a sleeping giant. Do you know who most recently used that phrase?
I believe it was the interim head coach.
He did. He said, once it gets going, watch out.
Yeah.
So there is the whole situation of the next coach at Nebraska that you're going to walk into a better situation than the previous 4 head coaches have had. So it is set up better than Frost, better than Riley, better than Pelini, better than Callahan. You're going to walk into a new football facility. You're going to walk into more financials.
I was going to say, so I want to clarify what you mean for people here, because on the surface, you look at, hey, haven't been a bowl game in 5 years, struggling more than this program has since the 60s. You mean infrastructurally?
Yeah. Well, because
they're in a better place than the last 4 guys.
Because outside of Riley taking over for Bo, you weren't walking to a situation where you were going to a bowl game every year.
Yeah.
So you're there's a reason why the job is open.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Nebraska's in a better spot to hire this head coach than they even were before Frost because they have more to sell.
Yes.
Okay. Name, image, likeness, all of a sudden is part of the conversation that was not back in, December of 17. New facility, more money, different administration.
Better AD.
So of those 4, is it a sleeping giant? Are you in a better spot in the hiring? Like Frost, compared to the other 3, was in a really good spot because you had an athletic director that wanted to win. And wanted you. Your administration was better. Okay. I mean, you felt like it was more aligned for the first time in a while. Like, I think so Frost's situation was the best. The worst was Callahan.
Yes.
Okay. You had an athletic director that people were out on. The hiring took forever. There were way too many names that were mentioned that were not Bill Callahan until you finally got to Bill Callahan. So, and he also walked into a situation where they fired Frank Solich. Okay.
Yes.
So Callahan's situation was already unnerving when he got the job. How long it took.
Well, and the names attached before Callahan were real names, not us just having conversations about, well, what about this guy? What about this guy?
People forget about Dave Wannstedt and Mike Zimmer.
Those were Dave Wannstedt, Mike Zimmer, Al Saunders, Houston Nutt. It's a very long list. Mike Sherman of real names that were gone after. So that's a very different situation than now.
Al Saunders, once considered for the Nebraska job.
Almost took it,
so
apparently.
Then you had the Mike Riley situation.
Yeah.
So Mike Riley was, why wouldn't you take the Nebraska job? No, I mean, people say, why would he come here? Why wouldn't you take the Nebraska job if you are at that point in your career in Corvallis, Oregon, and someone says, would you like to come to Nebraska? Do you go, no, I'm good. I can't ride my bike to practice. I can't have people just bring their lawn chairs and sit around the practice field. No, I'm good. Yeah, you would take the job.
Yeah.
But you also were kind of set up to fail initially because you weren't prepared for what you were inheriting.
Sure.
Okay, because the athletic director did not know what kind of a coach this program needed, from the personality and the way things were run from Bo to the personality and the way that Mike Riley and his AD wanted to run the football program. So you were already put in a position where you went from players in that locker room and you basically said, we're not going to cleanse the first year, when you probably should have.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You said, no, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. Let's just keep guys together and let's do this. You went from a guy that was pretty fiery, that players bought into his message. They might have thought he was, but Bo touched guys in a different way than Mike Riley.
Sure.
Bo was the kind of coach for that group of players where they're fired up, they're ready to run through a wall, they're on the field warming up, and they're jacked, and their coach is jacked, and their coach is spitting as he's talking to them. And then the following year, you're the same player, you're jacked for a Big Ten game, you're fired up, and you look over at your coach, and he's shivering because he's cold, and he looks like a little old man.
He does. He looked like a grandpa.
Now, there's a prominent players that tell a story of a game when they knew that Mike Riley was not the right guy for them, because Mike Riley was shivering in warmups while guys were trying to get ready for a high-level game. So that's the third on the list, working back to Frost. And then Bo's situation. Bo was probably in a good situation, okay, because he had T.O.
Yeah.
Okay, you could rely on T.O. Bo also was like, a little leery of my pastime here, but yeah, T.O. will take care of me. So Bo's situation was much better to inherit and come into than what Riley and Callahan did. And Frost were the best, but this person will walk into a situation over the last 5 head coaches that is better than any of them. Administration is taken care of. AD is much stronger, and AD will be able to see your shortcomings and help you there, where I don't think Moose cared really about any shortcomings. I just had to go get Frost, and we'll just let it ride, baby.
Yeah, and there's a couple other things that I agree with your rankings on that are worth consideration as well. You mentioned coming after Solich, which really divided the fan base, obviously was a negative for Callahan. Same thing for Riley. The firing of Bo was pretty controversial at the time with the fan base. So you had a lot of people that were never going to be on board unless you hit a huge home run. Guess what? Mike Riley was like a seeing eye infield single. That was not what anybody expected or really wanted in that situation. You also have to look at no one really liked the AD in that situation either. In both of the situations you're talking about with Callahan and with Riley and Eichhorst and Peterson respectively there. So you've got an AD that maybe for the first time since TO, everybody seems to trust and be on board with. You mentioned the administration, you mentioned the facilities, and I'm gonna push back on what Lee said. Maybe not top 10. It's probably somewhere in that 10 to 15 range, though, as far as top jobs in the country. I still think this is a really good job. And I know some people think I'm a homer. Some people think I'm crazy. Nebraska's a really good job. There's a lot of things to your advantage here. You've mentioned it several times. When you've got it going at Nebraska, whether you're the starting quarterback, whether you're the head coach, whether you're the star defensive player that actually can touch the quarterback once in 54 drop back passes, the life can be really good for you here. There is a level of, and not always a good thing, but comfort and luxury to being a part of a winning Nebraska football team, whether as player or coach or AD or whatever, that can be a really nice life that a lot of people, I think, probably recognize. I think around the country, you can look at the Nebraska job, and especially now when expectations have become incredibly reasonable. Do we want to be more at some point? Yes. But for the next few years, at least, you're going to have a pretty soft landing to give yourself a chance. This job, to me, should be incredibly enticing to a lot of people. It's not going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
There's some people it's not going to be a good fit for. I fully understand that. And as much as I like Lane Kiffin, he probably is one of those guys that it's not a good fit for. But I think it's an incredibly good job with a ton of advantages. And the one major disadvantage, the lack of local products in terms of high school recruiting, A, has gotten better, and B, can be largely negated with NIL, where you can just go out and recruit nationally in a way you've never been able to do before. There's a lot of programs that have to recruit nationally. This is not a unique to Nebraska situation. Like Stanford has to recruit nationally. Notre Dame has to recruit nationally. A lot of it's academically based, where you have to go get people because your academic standards are of a certain level. But a lot of programs have to recruit nationally, and a lot of programs choose to recruit nationally. It's not like all of Alabama's roster comes from Tuscaloosa. They go all over. They get whatever players they need from wherever they need to find them. This is not 1970 where you have to get on a train, plane, and automobile just to find a guy that's 3 states away. Guess what? You hop on the private jet and you're home for dinner. This is not that, it's not that hard, guys. Yeah. There's so many advantages to this job, and the disadvantages are legitimately pretty small. I think this is a way better job than some people give it credit for.
And you are going to walk into a situation where the locker room is better for you to inherit.
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, look at the locker room that Mike Riley inherited.
There's some guys that Mike Riley's style works for, and I've met them. I've coached them. I've been around those guys. But if you're a guy that Bo Pelini style worked for, a Mike Riley you'll hate him.
Well, you can't have this. When your starting inside linebacker has to Google when they're told who their new head coach is, you're not walking into a good situation. Whoever is the next head coach here is taking over a good situation. Now, you will say thank you, and he might be the head coach, to Mickey Joseph and this staff, that they are not going scorched earth on this program. That this program is going to be handed off or kept in the family in a better spot than it could be. You're still going to have departures, but you could really wreck this program right now. You could really set this up for the next guy to just look at his director of football operations in January and go, what the? So, because you're not only doing it roster-wise, you're also doing it culture-wise, where some guys are being held more accountable or some things are being taken care of that have been lax in the past. So this is actually, in that sense, if that's a thing you're looking at as a coach, because you're going to look at the roster and go, what am I inheriting? But I think you're inheriting a better locker room than you would have or potentially could have had with a firing as early as you have in this season.
Yeah, I certainly don't anticipate a leaked audio tape of Mickey Joseph calling anyone any names if he doesn't end up getting the head coaching job. That seems pretty unlikely in this scenario. So that'll certainly help the next guy, I would imagine.
or the guy that got fired, because I don't know if he is even, nothing has ever been done publicly.
Which is probably the way he has to handle it, right? Like that's if you're Frost, that's the best way to handle it, especially if you ever want another job.
Yeah, I mean, you'll never be able to come back here. I mean, as time goes along, you will not be able to. There's going to be no reunion at Memorial Stadium.
Sure,
Frank Solich has a bobblehead in Ohio. People want Frank to come back. This guy is not going to be able to come back.
No, he's not.
No. All right, coming up, Mike Sauter is going to join us here in just a bit. We will also, next hour, talk to Mike Schaefer, Matt Verzal as well on a Football Friday Fiesta on 1620 The Zone. From tomorrow, big game in Lincoln. Here comes nationally ranked Illinois, all of a sudden getting a lot of attention. And you could be there with Tickets for Less. They always have your game day covered. They have every day covered, whether it be a sporting event or a show. And how about Luke Combs? Yes, there's nobody hotter in country music right now than Luke Combs, and he'll be in Omaha next weekend. So be sure to check out my friends at ticketsforless.com to go to shows, go to games, any upcoming event. Check it out online, ticketsforless.com. Remember, you never pay those hefty per-ticket fees. So you want to go to Memorial Stadium next Saturday to catch a game, or to Arrowhead Stadium to catch the Chiefs, or to the CHI Health Center to catch the hottest acts. Tickets for Less is your source for the best tickets. Compare and save today at ticketsforless.com.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Number one team in the country in stop rate, Minnesota.
Oh boy, Nebraska eats them in a few weeks.
85%. Number two, Michigan.
Oh, cool. They see them the week after they see Minnesota.
83%.
Very cool.
Number four, Illinois.
Oh, awesome. They see them at the end of the month on the 29th.
81.5%. Have you looked at where Nebraska's ranked?
Yeah.
66. They're only one spot behind Oklahoma.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Potential for a top 10 day Friday with mainly sunny skies, light winds throughout the day, highs in the upper 70s. Cooling off overnight, mainly clear skies, lows in the lower 40s. Mostly sunny, breezy, and warmer for Saturday, highs in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden, AC, heating, plumbing, and more, time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can't expect some major slowdown near 90th and L. Then on Industrial Road, be prepared for some significant delays from 149th to 138th. And on Dodge, it looks like you should be expecting just a little bit of slowdown from 80th to 61st. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
What does Saul's loan on? Almost everything, like jewelry, gold chains, bracelets, earrings, wedding rings, and high-end watches, guns, electronics, $10 to $50,000, super fast and easy with no credit check. Saul's loans on almost everything.
There are actually two kinds of cigars. The first is the one you smoke with beloved family and friends. The second, the one you enjoy with friends you've just met. And you'll find both at Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge. At Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, there's a well-stocked humidor with some of the best bands from around the world, and a bar with your favorite cocktails and other drinkables. So what do you say? Which cigar will you be enjoying tonight? Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's.
Email Unsportsmanlike Conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Creighton Sports Update.
Single game tickets for all men's and women's basketball home games are on sale now. The Blue Jays tip off 2 highly anticipated seasons in less than a month, and you won't want to miss any of it. Get your tickets online now at gocreighton.com/tickets. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
$16.20 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike. Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power and savings with style. Not to mention top tech to help keep you connected. Plush premium interiors and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years, with a hybrid or electric vehicle built for every driver. Seriously, dear gas prices? Do you really think you could stand in our way? Think again. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers. Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Corwin Toyota of Bellevue.
Terrors of the night stalk among the trees. Waiting in the distance. A shriek. Laughter. Then, silence. It's the season of darkness at the Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. Spend an hour with nothing to protect you but your own screams. Bring your group and witness unspeakable horrors that test every fiber of your nerves. Hayride and house combo $25 or $15 separately. The Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. BellevueBerryFarm.com.
Cubby's supports the PACE program with Raise Some Dough. For every large pizza sold at Cubby's in the Old Market, Cubby's gives $1 to the Police Athletic League, serving at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children with athletic and educational programs. PACE has over 5,800 program participants. The league reaches kids that would not normally be able to participate in athletics like soccer and baseball due to financial situations and family dynamics. PACE wants to give every kid the opportunity at athletics and a healthy and safe environment. If you'd like to support PACE too, go to paceomaha.org.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year and business has never been better. We are rapidly growing and adding new customers, which means we need new route drivers and service technicians. We have new jobs for those new to the industry with little or no experience, and new careers that require knowledge in the coffee and vending world. There's a good chance we have just what you need in a new job. Host Coffee offers competitive pay and understands the work-life balance. Apply today at hostcoffee.net/careers and join our team.
The passion and excitement of high school football continues every week, and the High School Football Update covers it all every Saturday morning. Join veteran sportscasters Jim Kelter and Torrey Pantalian Saturday mornings 8 to 10 on 1180 The Zone.
1620 The Zone.
Halftime brought to you by Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off 680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's. It's Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
All right, final day of the regular season for high school football. Lots of stuff going on. Softball wrapped up last week. Mike Scheider spent a lot of time in Hastings. We got volleyball coming up. All the other fall sports are coming to an end, but tonight is the night for football, and then we all eagerly anticipate the brackets being released tomorrow morning. We welcome in from the NEB Preps, Mike Scheider. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
What are you
doing?
What are you doing?
Cross country today in Kearney.
Are you headed there?
I am not.
Will I see you tonight at Elkhorn South?
Yeah.
All right.
Won my game of the week, so I'm excited about that one. I know North lost last week, but I'm still pretty excited about that one.
I can tell in your voice.
I went to bed at 2:45. So, but no, I really am excited about it. I want to see the two running backs. Porter last week had a little bit of sickness stuff going on. No excuse to, perform like they did last week. You're talking about Omaha North here. But I want to see two of the three best senior running backs. Is that fair to say?
Hey, now you don't have to tiptoe around because you haven't, and I'm right there with you. So Porter has had a great season, and it's cool that he's going to Northwest Missouri State with Larry Martin's son there.
Right.
And that appears to be a great fit for him.
Yep.
But Cole Ballard's season, 31 touchdowns in 8 games, the 7 against Omaha Burke. We sometimes overlook Cole, I think, because he has been playing varsity football for, I don't know, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
But the season that he is having, and maybe it also has a little bit to do with Elkhorn South's schedule was not week after week of ranked teams. All they do is take care of business. That we kind of overlook Elkhorn South in a way, which we shouldn't.
Right. Yeah. Their toughest game, if you just look at schedule to date or records of opponents, it would be either Millard South or Grand Island, I guess. And Millard South was a close one, and that was without Cam Collier. So, that was week 2 or 3 or whatever when Cam was out playing baseball for Team USA. So, yeah, there's a little question there, right? Like, can they handle the toughness, physicality, stuff like that? Going on the road and doing what they did to Grand Island. I was there for that game. It was basically over from the jump. So it's a nice little challenge. We'll see if both teams, the physicality up front. We'll see if North can handle that. I'm looking forward to the kind of the matchup on the line. You have big name guys, Maverick Noonan obviously, and Tyson Terry from Omaha North, 2 power conference linemen. They probably won't match up against each other at all because Terry's more interior guy, but I like that. Tyler Stewart's another guy. He's a 2-time defending champion, state wrestling champion for Omaha North. So that's one. And I just think Elkhorn South's line as a whole, their defensive line is really good. Noah Bustard is really tough inside on that. Well, he plays both ways, I guess, but specifically defensive line, he's racked up a lot of tackles. And a guy, I think I said it a couple weeks ago or a long time ago, Ashton Murphy is a guy for Elkhorn South, a junior. And he will be, you want to talk recruiting kind of names, he's that guy. He's kind of the next kind of big thing. And when I say big, it's because he's like actually a pretty big guy. So, but he's a name. Like he went to North Dakota State last week. He's been to Nebraska game day visits already. He's a guy. So there's a lot there. And Jackson Muller Swans had a nice year for Elkhorn South. The thing, back to Cole Ballard real quick, the thing about him is he's a pretty good safety too. Plays kind of the rover position for him. So he kind of does a lot of everything. He probably won't catch Moses Bryant's, state record for school record for touchdowns and stuff like that, because that was different. But he's had a nice senior year, and I'm glad he's kind of finally getting a lot more attention because he had a really good year last year. I mean, he's been on varsity, like you said, for feels like forever.
Mike, all right, I'm going to get my homer question out of the way before we move on to the rest of the interview. My Miller North Mustangs against Lincoln Southwest, if they win, are they in, or is there still some questions there?
Yeah, it feels like that's one of the big games as far as who gets in. I think they have to win. If they win, they get in. It looks like. As far as playoff seedings are concerned, it's crazy to think about. So a lot of the teams that are in, as far as playoff seedings concerned, like your Gretnas and Westsides and Bellevue West and all of that, a lot of those teams, their seed hinges on teams that are not going to get in and how they perform tonight if they win or lose. For example, I think if Bellevue East loses to Omaha South, then that will drop Gretna in points, and it'll also drop Bellevue West a seed line. So it could be like the 2 and 7 seed instead of maybe 1 and 6 or something. Or Gretna could actually end up being a 3 in certain scenarios if games, play out right. There's a lot that hinges on, teams being over 500 and getting that what they call Division 2 win, or Division 1 win, or 2 or 3. So there's a lot there. Like Norfolk has they play a big part in this tonight too. Norfolk and Kearney, as far as just where other people are going to be seated. I feel like it's something that's not ever happened before, where there's so much hinging on other teams' performance to get that right playoff seed.
Hey, if you are, and I know we're focusing on A, but I also look at B and even C1, because those are the 3 classes that I'm most familiar with, that the 2 teams that make it to Lincoln, out of those 3 classes, you will have definitely earned it and gone through a little bit of a gauntlet because of the depth at the top. But I'm looking at a potential Class A bracket. Boy, we could have some upsets from seeding purposes in the opening round. But if you've seen these teams play, you're like, no, that's not an upset. There could be like a Prep and a Millard South that get a double-figure seed, and you go, whoa, I wouldn't want to play them.
Yeah, if you're, I look at Grand Island, right? And you're the 4 seed, and you're gonna run into like maybe an Omaha North, Millard South, or Prep. Like, I don't know about that, right? Like, I don't know if I'd want that one. Kearney, kind of same way. WS is certainly super dangerous, and they're probably going to be the 6 or 7, and they could win the whole thing. So it's pretty wide open. Millard South, another one. Like, if they win tonight, they'll be 5 and 4, and they'll be like the 12, 13, something like that. No, like if I'm Papio South and I end up being the 5, I don't want to play. I'm not sure I want to play them in the first round for sure.
Is there a pretty good chance that Gretna and Westside will be on opposite sides of the bracket?
I think those are it looks like those 2 will be the 1 and 2. It looks like Westside will be the 1, and that's strength of schedule. I think one team tonight if you project them to win, Westside will have played. If Millard South wins tonight, that's what it is. If Millard South wins tonight, Westside will have not played a team with a losing record the entire year.
Wow.
Which no one else can say that. So, yes, they have the 1 loss, but it's all based off of, strength of schedule type stuff. So that's a pretty tough schedule. So, it feels like Westside's a lot more closer to locked into that 1 seed just because of that. And then you have, it feels like Gretna is going to be the 2, but Elkhorn South they're playing probably, outside of, let's see what happens tonight, but they're probably the most complete team at this point, I think. Just injuries and all of that. And Carson Rounders, he's had a heck of a year at quarterback too. So I think, I don't know if I want to be on the Elkhorn South side of the whole bracket thing either.
You mentioned Bellevue West had the potential to win it all. Obviously, you've got Gretna, Elkhorn South, Omaha West Side also. How many teams in Class A do you think have a legitimate shot at winning the state title?
Oh, man.
I know you love those questions.
At this point with injuries and the way rosters have shaken out and all that, I'll go 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I'm counting. 5, 6, something like that.
Who are the 2 extra that I didn't name?
Put you on the spot. I'm trying to avoid that question so hard.
Love you, Mike.
Because this is going to come back to someone's going to say you picked against us.
Yep, I know.
Yeah. I think Millard South with Cam at quarterback is different. I certainly think they're totally different. And I think Prep has the running attack and multiple backs. If they've had some injuries, Rocco Marcelino's out for the year with the knee, and they've had some other kind of stuff. Quarterback's still getting a little kind of figured out what are we going to do there, but they run the ball so well. And then I do think Omaha North, just because Larry Martin, remember last year, Omaha North made that run to the semis last year. Totally different kind of team this year. But I think North if Porter's healthy, and it gets cold, it gets windy, random stuff. But they are young in key positions. Sebastian Circo is still a sophomore, and their receivers are still their main two guys are freshmen and sophomore. So, and they don't have an over the top kind of 6'2" guy or mega athlete that can go up and moss someone for a ball if they need it. So they'd have to grind it out. But I do trust Larry Martin when it comes to November for sure.
B. So Bennington only won 21-7 against Elkhorn North. I don't know what's wrong with Bennington.
Embarrassing.
They may have to look internally to see what's going on there. But that was the first time all year. I think they didn't score 33, and Elkhorn North was the first team to make it within 20. But Bennington's the defending champ. Tonight, Gross and Scott play. Scott appears to be rounding into form. Gross is unbeaten. It's we don't have Gross and Bennington playing in the regular season. What will you look for tonight in B, and then how it will relate to a bracket being released tomorrow on a class that I think, man, I think the top 6 are pretty good. I mean, Bennington's by themselves, Gross is there, but that top 6 in B is pretty competitive.
But then you had your Scottsbluff, Elkhorn, Waverly, Scott. I think that's probably about the number. That I didn't look last year, but I feel like that 21 points that Bennington scored. Here we are, like breaking down. Hey, they won by 2 touchdowns, and whoa, what's wrong with them, right? But I want to say they scored more than 21 all last year too. I need to kind of double check and look at that. It's been a while. So credit to Elkhorn North, right? Who's 5-3 and
young program have had their best year, yeah.
Right, got that thing moving in the right direction for sure. So, I do Bennington, Gross, Scottsbluff, Elkhorn, Waverly, Scott. It feels like Elkhorn North and Blair are tonight. Another one, York or Northwest at York. I know Northwest at York. And that Scott Gross game is real interesting to me. Definitely has my kind of attention. Can Scott finish out the regular season undefeated? It still feels like Bennington will be the one. If Gross, wins, they'll be the 2. I think Scott's Bluff don't know a ton about, right? Lost the one game to North Platte week 2, and everyone was like, "Whoa, they lost to North Platte! Oh my gosh!" Well, okay, North Platte turns out to be pretty decent this year, right? So you're Elkhorn has. I mean, they just don't match up with Bennington. We saw that, right? They have to just slow grind you out. And Scott is coming into this is kind of what they always do, right? They make it kind of a little bit, make a sort of late season push, like they just Terman does that. So I think Gross though tonight. I do feel like Gross has they're just older and bigger. Specifically up front, their line talks about it all year. Their line and Jake Garcia are such a patient runner behind it. Waverly throwing it around a little bit is definitely a team that can be pretty dangerous as well. It does just feel like though it's going to be like a fire and ice situation, unless something happens to gross where they get in a close one and the ball doesn't bounce their way in the playoffs or something. But it does feel like a Bennington gross or kind of the level above everyone else. But Omaha gross and Scottsbluff would be really fun because both teams would prefer, I think, to just grind it out. So it'd be like a 10-7. Well, I don't even know if they have a kicker, so maybe like 14-7.
Man, you hate kickers.
I love kickers.
Just a couple of more minutes here. I want to ask you about softball. What was the craziest thing that happened in Hastings?
The coach cheating. I don't know. Like probably the craziest thing.
Is that situation over now, or is there more to that?
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Malcolm needs a new softball coach. So they had a school board meeting on Monday night, and it was a personnel matter, quote unquote, was on the agenda. And I was actually going to go to the school board meeting, but I found out that portion was going to be in a closed session. So I decided, well, I'm not going to go waste my time. But yeah, I mean, calling a cut second base to score play, or cut third base from second to score a run play. Probably not the highest moral character right there. So, yeah, that was the craziest thing. And then defending it afterwards was even worse.
Yeah. So, yeah. Hey, did you hear? So I got more softball coaches that reached out, and they're Metro coaches. They said the field at Hastings was the worst field they'd played on all year.
The people in Hastings do a tremendous job of putting the event on, and a bunch of volunteers and all of that. It wasn't ideal. I'll say that.
You think
ideal. You have the temporary fences that were leaning over, and that the one outfield you could tell it had been played on a lot, and you had the grass was kind of rubbed down to dirt, and where the outfielders kind of primarily stand type of stuff. Wasn't fantastic. I'll say that.
They do put a lot into it. You are absolutely right, and they've got an army of volunteers. It just, those coaches are highly competitive, and especially in the world of softball, where they want more attention and they want the same like baseball got. That when the playing field isn't up to par like some of the fields that they get to play on here in Omaha, or even their own field, that they're gonna want more, and they should. I mean, they're promoters of the sport. Hey, we will we'll see you out at Elkhorn tonight with all the coverage, and then will you be the first to release the brackets tomorrow?
Yeah, bracket reveal show tomorrow morning, 8:30, live from the NSA office in Lincoln. I will be on that show. I'm pretty sure we'll start with A, and then just kind of go A, B, C1, C2, and then 6-man bracket, and then we'll probably just discuss a little bit of the 8-man brackets that got reseeded after last night. So, yeah, 8:30 on StriveSports, I believe, .com. So I'll tweet out, share a link, and all that stuff, probably multiple times in the next 24 hours.
All right, say hello to my friend Nate for me.
Yeah, he sleeps in his office. He'll be sleeping in his office tonight.
All right. Thanks, Mike. We'll see you tonight.
Yeah.
Bye. Mike Sauter from the NEB Preps. Could be a wild night. Get your calculators out.
I'm just
about points, ma'am.
I'm just worried about one game.
I know.
Just worried about the one game.
You could get West Side and Millard North playing.
Listen, that game was good this year.
It was. Like there have been moments where Millard North has been very competitive.
Yes, they have. Then there's been some where they have looked terrible.
Yeah. I tell you a team that don't sleep on. I'm not saying they're going to win A, but boy, they've come a ways is Millard West.
Yeah. Yeah,
the schedule kind of settled down for them, and they were able to grow a little bit.
Yeah.
I've been impressed by Millard West.
Yeah, they looked really good.
All right. Coming up next hour, Mike Schaefer, Matt Verzel on 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Fourth grade, we're learning all these things. I, in my infinite wisdom, decide to write a note to a girl. Finish your drink. I don't want you to spit this. Said me plus you equals nighttime fun. It's an 11-year-old. I got in trouble. I got sent to the counselor's office.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Caller 4 right now, 402-951-1620. Qualifies for 1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em. It's your chance to pick 4 football games correctly against the spread to win $1,620. Call 402-951-1620. Call now to qualify with 1620 The Zone.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory, explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
With almost everything in life, you have choices. You can pick a lot, a little, or somewhere in the middle. So shouldn't there be an internet plan that's just as clever? One that allows you to add TV or home automation whenever. That's why Cox now offers flexible internet plans, giving you all the services you desire at nothing you don't require. Additional services can be added at then current regular rates. All services subject to residential customer service agreement and acceptable use policy found at cox.com/policies. Restrictions apply.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Brookside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Brookside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 402-671-7777. That's 402-671-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Brookside Medical Clinic now. 402-671-7777.
The big box stores have a secret. When you walk out the door with a new purchase, that's where the service ends. At Ty's Outdoor Power and Service, you get great deals on brands like Hustler, Toro, Honda, and Steel. Plus, you get a dedicated experienced service center. With annual maintenance and repairs, your equipment will last longer and perform when you need it most. See us in Lincoln, Omaha, or Gretna and get 10% off your residential service. Visit TysOutdoorPower.com, promo code radio, or mention radio to redeem.
Husker coverage on 1620 The Zone is presented by Tickets for Less. Tickets for Less is your local source for Nebraska football tickets. Compare and save today at ticketsforless.com. All the Nebraska football news, stories, experts, and coverage you need is on 1620 The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. It has been a great summer, but a new school year. The fall, crisp, cool weather will be upon us before you know it, and it is time for you to transition into crisp, clear vision. Who can help you do that? Of course, the fine folks at Kugler Vision, voted Best of Omaha, #1 LASIK provider in Omaha Magazine. They changed my life in 2018. They can change your life today. Visit their website, schedule a consultation, kuglervision.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free online visit. forhims.com/radio.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can't expect some major slowdown near 90th and L. Then on Industrial Road, be prepared for some significant delays from 149th to 138th. And on Dodge, it looks like you should be expecting just a little bit of slowdown from 80th to 61st. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
What does Saul's loan on? Almost everything, like tools, instruments, designer handbags, construction equipment, vehicles, trailers, appliances. $10 to $50,000 super fast and easy with no credit check. Saul's loans on almost everything.
Malarkey shingles are durable, high performance, impact resistant, and beautiful. Carp's Complete Home Exteriors is a certified Malarkey shingle residential contractor. For a free estimate, call Carp's Complete Exteriors or visit carpsomaha.com.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has been making your game day experience one to remember for 18 years with our award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. But now your game day just got bigger and better with Oscar's newly upgraded audio-video system. Cheer on your favorite teams this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall, showing up to 8 games at once, and of course, 40 TVs and massive dual projectors. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year and business has never been better. We continue to grow and add new customers. Many employers are looking for new ideas for their staff as people return to the office. Our pantry service is a great office amenity for staff and guests. Fresh food, snacks, coffee, water, and other beverages for employees and guests. Enhance your office experience with pantry service from Host Coffee. Learn more at hostcoffee.net.
Tomorrow is the last day to save at 42 Degrees on the largest selection of glass, silicone, water, and metal pipes, featuring companies like C2, Jedi, Michael Crouch, and local artist Chris Vargas, and more. Need a vaporizer? We have Pax, Dr. Dabble, Luca, and Hamilton up to 50% off, with the most knowledgeable, friendly, and professional staff to make your shopping experience a pleasure. So hurry down to 42 Degrees and save. The Source. By your mom's house.
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issues stemming from your neck or back. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
All right, last hour on a Friday ahead of a bye week. Congratulations, everybody that's getting married this weekend, or will spend numerous hours doing the honey-do list, put up the Christmas lights, mowing the lawn.
Going to Vallis.
Going to Vallis, going to Roca Berry Farm. Any place else? Ditmer's, where Mike Schaefer might be. I'm sure Schaefer, looking at the weather tomorrow. You going to golf tomorrow?
I would have normally, but I'm going to be one of the wedding people.
Oh.
I'll be at a wedding tomorrow afternoon. I gotta say, I'm a little surprised it's going to be an October wedding. There's like an outdoor component to it. Like, I'm going to be sweating at an October wedding. This is a thing that happens now.
This sounds, as Mike Schaefer from Husker 24/7 joins us, this sounds a little bougie. This must be Shelby's friends.
Shelby's cousin.
Okay.
think it's in Indian Creek. No, I don't know.
Oh,
that's a nice venue. I've been to a couple weddings out there.
Nice. Do they have valet parking?
I don't know. I don't know how any of this works. I should probably figure that out.
They didn't have valet last time I was there.
Yeah. I'm just told I can't wear basketball shorts after 3:00 tomorrow, and I need to have a nice shirt. So that's pretty much the only instruction I have on the whole thing.
God, marriage has really ruined you.
The basketball shorts is dumb. I need that 80% of my life.
Hey, so there is one thing going on tomorrow that does not include the wedding that you will be at. Malachi Coleman's finally going to say yes to Nebraska. How would you describe this whole? How would you describe this whole process? And you can correct me. Is there a surprise out there, or have I been wrong for a while, just assuming it's Nebraska?
I don't think you're wrong. I mean, if you're wrong, I'm wrong. I don't know. Part of it is the recruitment has gone on long enough, and enough people involved in the recruitment and the recruiting world assume he's going to Nebraska that I think teams have started to take him off their own board. And so that's kind of made it hard for him to even have a second team. Like, at this point in time, I don't know who the next closest option is for Malachi Coleman. And that could mean there's a surprise coming, but I don't think there is. I think it's going to be Nebraska. We've seen him tweet out Mickey Joseph photos the last few weeks during games. That relationship is still really strong. Maybe something changes if Mickey Joseph isn't involved in the future at Nebraska. I expect he will be in some capacity, and I expect Malachi Coleman will be as well. And so I think it should be a good day for Nebraska and a good day for Lincoln, because there's not a lot of these that pop up. I mean, you had Josh Banderas, Luke Gifford, Foster, Gerald Foster, Malachi Coleman. There just hasn't been a lot of D1 players in Lincoln going to Nebraska. And of course you have Benny Nagoy, who's committed to Iowa State. So he's not the only one this year, but it's just great to see for Lincoln, and it should be a fun day overall.
Mike, what do you think of Carter Nelson? He obviously is kind of going national with his recruiting right now. Just got a offer from Penn State. Is that a guy that Nebraska's got a pretty good shot at keeping home, or is he one of the local products that we are going to see have kind of one of those wide open recruitments?
I got to give a lot of credit to one of Nebraska's recruiting staffers several years ago. Kind of elbows me in the ribs before a game, points over at this lanky, tall kid, and he's like, "Take a photo of that guy because you're going to need it for your website here pretty soon." And Nebraska has been all over Carter Nelson. I mean, since the moment he kind of jumped his way into the recruiting world with his high jump score, and then he's a regarded basketball player that everyone looks at and sees tight end, and Nebraska does too. Where he's at as a football player is kind of a question, but he's such a great athlete that these teams are excited to see, like, okay, we get him in. He's going to need a year or two to kind of structure that body, learn the game of football a little bit. He's coming from 8-man, so he's going to have a little bit of a change, and then the physicality is going to be a change. But the athleticism and the explosiveness is what sets him apart in a way that, is pretty rare. And I think he's going to be, a super unique national recruit. When we talk about Nebraska with national recruits, it's largely been kids in the more metro area where you have Malachi Coleman and Lincoln, and then, of course, all the guys in Omaha in the last few years. We're talking about a guy in Ainsworth playing 8-man football that's picking up offers all throughout the country. I think Nebraska has a great shot here. I mean, a lot's going to depend on who the next coach is, of course.
Sure.
But I think he's been, pretty quiet in his recruiting process, but it wouldn't surprise me if he takes some visits after basketball season, maybe next spring.
Hey, answer questions for people that are wondering, interim head coach, maybe a lame duck staff, but yet they're recruiting like it's a normal operation. Your reaction to how Mickey has approached recruiting like they haven't missed a beat, and he's been the head coach here for a while.
I love it. Well, let me say this, and we can maybe talk about this more in depth if you want to or not. I appreciate the thing that Mickey has done is he has made this his program from the first day that he took over. And he didn't do the thing where it's kind of like, well, I'm the interim coach, but it's kind of a communal process. No, it's Mickey Joseph's team. And I appreciate that he's done that. And one of the things that people have to kind of pick up and understand is that regardless of where any of these coaches are next year, if they want to stay in the coaching profession, you have to prove that you have value. And one of the ways that you can prove that you have value is recruiting. And if you can go out and build relationships with 24s and 25s, and maybe you're at a different school, but those relationships are strong, it can really help you. We saw with Brian Applewhite, he was let go by TCU, and he helps bring in, A.J. Allen, and he's instrumental in several other recruits that Nebraska's gone after, and a commitment like Riley Van Poppel. And so even if you're in a situation where you're not likely to return, it's important for you to remain valuable as a coach. And so I think, we saw Mickey recruit for LSU all the way up until the day before he was announced by Nebraska. So it's just a mentality that I think serves these guys really well. And guys like Brian Applewhite and Mickey Joseph and Bill Bush love to recruit. Like, it's a huge part of who they are as coaches. And so this doesn't matter to them. And they've all been in a situation where they've been in lame duck, recently. And so because of that, they all kind of know the score. And I think that's why you're getting a very professional run of things here from those coaches.
Dave, you mentioned the coaches kind of building their own portfolio almost. Has that changed in recent years where it's almost viewed as you kind of come with your own book of recruits when you get hired by a new school? Is that, or has it kind of always been that way and we just didn't realize it or cover it the same way?
Well, I think it's always kind of been that way, but you look at Nebraska's last couple staff hires, or not staff hires, but the last time they've had head coaching changes. Mike Riley brought a lot of guys from Oregon State, so you're going to get a lot of those connections. Scott Ross brought his whole staff from UCF, so you're going to get those connections. So it's a little bit different when you're talking about piecemealing it, where you're going to have a couple guys from here and a coach from there. And so you're probably going to see it a little bit more with this next staff, almost regardless of who the head coach is, unless you hire someone who demands that he's going to bring 7 assistants. I just don't think that's what's going to happen. So I think we're going to acknowledge that a little more. But for Nebraska specifically, because your last couple hires have had coaches that are largely coming from their previous stop, it sort of just all feels like it bleeds together, if that makes sense.
Mike Schaefer from Husker 24/7 joining us. Now let's talk about the current team. So we know what the first 7 games have been like for Trey Palmer, what potentially the next 5 could be, could break some records, but he's now going to be under, defense is a little bit tougher, and people are going to be looking for number 3 on the field. Is there a Trey Palmer bump off of this year, out of the portal, Mickey Joseph connection that Nebraska can play off of down the road in 23, 24 and beyond?
I think so, because you're not talking about just Trey Palmer right now. You're also talking about what Samari Toure was able to do. And now it becomes, is Nebraska the kind of place where a wide receiver can show up and get to the NFL? Because if Trey Palmer leaves, and I don't think he should, that's a different conversation. But if Trey Palmer leaves after this year, he's going to be in the NFL. He's more than likely going to be drafted, and that's 2 for 2 in your last 2 years. It also means you got to go back to the portal and find another guy. But if you have that in your back pocket, almost regardless of who's coaching here, it's going to be a selling strategy of, look, guys have come to the Big Ten, learned how to play against these defenses, and that's prepared them for the NFL. That's the pitch. I mean, it's pretty easy. It's pretty cut and dry. And when you don't have Trey Palmer, if he ends up leaving, then the pitch becomes, look, we need a number 1 wide receiver. There's opportunity in this offense. We don't have one right now. And so I think Nebraska is going to be back in the portal, and I think they're going to end up with another good wide receiver because of it.
Shafe, what are the chances that Tommy Hill has a meaningful moment on offense this year?
Probably less than 30%. I mean, this sounds kind of stupid, but how many guys have had a meaningful moment on Nebraska's offense? It's been a lot of Trey Palmer, a lot of Anthony Grant, a lot of Casey Thompson, and you sprinkled in a little Vocal X Martin, and a little Marcus Washington. So part of it is the way that Mark Whipple builds things and the way that Nebraska is going to play is they're probably just going to feed a lot of Trey Palmer, a lot of Anthony Grant that doesn't leave much else. But if you have one of those kind of Xavier Bet behind the line of scrimmage pop passes to the Tommy Hill. Like, he has the ability to make a bunch of guys miss score from like 40 yards out. So maybe it's something like that. I'd say less than 30%. I hope it happens. I'm very intrigued by what's going to happen with young Tommy Hill and where this goes, because he had so much potential. They clearly liked him a lot, and now he's no longer at the position where they were excited about him. How do you make this a story that isn't cautionary or isn't just another guy from Florida that didn't work out at Nebraska, but it has a good ending? Like, how do they get there? That's what I want to see.
You wrote about going through the freshman class and who has played, who hasn't played. Are they going to burn the red shirt or not? It's up on Husker 24/7. As you did this little science experiment, and there's a couple of guys like Dakotas Crawford injured out for the year, never got an opportunity to play. And there have been other guys that have been injured like Bonner. Are you surprised at how little contribution Nebraska has gotten out of their true freshman class? And I should also add A.J. Allen, who is a star in the making, injured out for the year.
The surprise would be that Malcolm Hartzog is one of the guys that's not going to redshirt. Like, I think coming into the fall, we all knew A.J. Allen and Ernest Hausman were going to play. So you were just going to write those off. I would have expected, Bonner and maybe Jaden Gould to be guys that could potentially be on the tipping point with a redshirt. I never would have guessed a Malcolm Hartzog. And so I think he's kind of the big surprise in that class right now, that not only, is he playing, he's starting at corner, and he's got interceptions in back-to-back games. Elsewhere in that list, Bonner's kind of the guy that I think once you get past this Illinois game, it makes sense to me to just get him out there and let him play, because you got to build wide receiver depth. That's going to be a big concern, moving forward. Emmett Johnson, I would love to see in a special teams role or two. That was a guy who showed up and was a good defensive back, a good kick returner, a good punt returner, and a great running back. Maybe we get to see him a little bit more when there's no chance that redshirt could come into play. So that's about it, though. A lot of this was going to be a pretty heavy development 1 or 2 year class before you see these guys kind of pop up. And there's not that many of them to start with, because you have so many guys from the transfer portal, which pushes out the playing time for the freshmen.
The chances of a quarterback not named Thompson or Purdy playing before the end of the year?
Well, that's Logan Smothers, and I think it could happen. I mean, again, I would like to see a sub package every now and then, where you get him out there, but it doesn't have to be something where he has like 5 plays in a row, but maybe in the red zone to avoid Casey getting hit, you want a little mobility with your quarterback, you send him in and you do a sprint option or a play action off of it and a bootleg or something like that, get him in motion. I think we'll see him in a sub package. I don't know that we'll see right now. I think we're going to see Casey Thompson start every game. I know he's having the snot beat out of him, but he's so tough. He keeps getting back up. I'd be surprised if anybody else starts.
Shafe, as always, great stuff. Have a good bye weekend. Enjoy the wedding tomorrow. Open bar?
I don't know, but knowing the family, not necessarily the family of the people getting married, but just the extended family, they like to drink, so there'd be a lot of grumbling if there's alcohol.
Hey,
and they're listening right now, too, I promise.
Well, we'll say hello to them. Yes, I think I know who some of them are. All right, have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
It's Mike Schaefer. All right.
Open bar is essential.
Look at that. Rolling the dice on a semi-late October outdoor wedding in Nebraska.
Well, so if I remember the facility correctly, it's an indoor facility, but there's like a patio.
Okay.
So you can plan for an outdoor element, but I think they were probably imagining just kind of like a nice, mild element and not 90 degrees in tuxes. So that, although I've been there for 2 summer weddings, and it's not that bad. It's well shaded on the outdoor portion. So
it could have been like Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, it would have been a little chilly out there for.
Yeah, we have a 71-degree difference. Apparently, I was just watching the news this morning from Tuesday morning to what's it going to be like on Sunday.
Yeah, it's pushing 90 tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm back in shorts. This is awesome.
I saw that. I
got
was,
a hoodie and shorts on. This is like the great fall attire for
That's
Nebraska.
the Nebraska fall uniform is hoodie and shorts.
It is. It is. All right, Matt Verzal is going to join us here in just a little bit. Game day is in Eugene tomorrow for UCLA and Oregon. I'm pretty sure Corso will be back again. He was back last week.
Yeah, I think so.
But there's also, will they replay the clip of one of their previous stops there where they had a little 5-year-old Oregon fan was on the set picking games. He was like their guest picker, and he picked like Yale over Harvard. And Corso said, "Not so fast, midget."
Wow.
And people went, "Oh, that's just Lee."
That's an old guy blind spot like we were talking about.
So the 5-year-old, he had no idea what that meant. Like they show Chris Fowler, because he was still hosting game day, and Herb Street. So it was just the 4 on the set. Like Herb Street about fell over. You probably say, and this was, this Lee was better, physically.
Yeah.
Back then, but he goes, "Yeah, not so fast, midget."
Come on, Lee.
Nice, bring him back, and he's like 6'4", 300 pounds now.
Yeah, he's an offensive line prospect now.
Hey, they are, so they've taken on a little different tone because Pat McAfee is on.
Yeah.
And McAfee's personality, and he'll do anything, and he's drawing in a little different audience.
Yeah.
They are more willing, I noticed, to show signs that are kind of explicit.
Yes.
So they pointed out to Herb Street, last week, there was a Tennessee fan holding a sign that was about Herb Street's bowel movements. And so Reese Davis pointed it out. He said, "Have you seen that sign?" And they started to like zoom in on it. I was like, all right, we're getting a little racy here on game day. We had McAfee, and all of a sudden we have the Pat McAfee show going on.
If you got Pat McAfee, all bets are off.
Anybody out there watched it more because McAfee is on?
I bet there's
because the ratings for both Fox and ESPN's pregame shows haven't been as good as they are right now.
I bet there's an element of his audience that was a part of his show that are watching because of him. I would guess that. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He was the star of the show in Lawrence just the day before and the day of game day. I mean, he kind of took over the town.
Well, he almost came along at the right time because they're competing against Fox.
Yeah.
Who, adds Urban back. I think Urban Meyer's blind, by the way. Every time I watch that show, he's got sunglasses on that make him look like he's blind. So they're competing against Urban Meyer, who, gosh, he's not as good as he was in 1.0 on Fox.
Yep.
I don't know. He's like missing his fastball because he can be really, really good on television.
He has been.
So they had to add something that competes against that, and they added McAfee, and apparently it's turned out pretty well.
If they were,
you get them because you don't try and rein in McAfee. You let McAfee be who he is, and the audience that he has grown on his show.
Which on ESPN in the past, they would bring in these big personalities and then try and put them in their ESPN box, and that doesn't work. If you're gonna make a swing at one of those guys, you have to let them be themselves because that's the only reason people watch in the first place. And so, because they did that but they had a Barstool show on for like one episode a couple of years ago and then killed it immediately. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Did you do any sort of research into what they do before you sign that contract? Because look at those numbers that they do. Watch the show for 5 minutes and you understand. But I'm glad they haven't done that with McAfee because, again, that's why you bring him on. And they probably don't bring him on unless they are competing with another entity that could be siphoning off viewers. It's a smart move on their part, and as long as they let him be him, he probably will continue to get them more viewers.
We were off the air trying to figure out Nebraska's start times outside of Illinois and Iowa, which is a 3:00 kick on Black Friday. We think that Big Noon kickoff will be in Ann Arbor because the rest of the Big Ten schedule that day is garbage.
It's not great. You've got a Wisconsin, Iowa, which would normally be your marquee matchup that day, but both those teams appear to be quite bad. And then you've got
Big Noon kickoff loves Michigan,
and you've got Purdue, Illinois, which could be for the West title at that point.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay.
But
will it move the needle?
But will that be
that might be a later in the day?
Well, because the draft has already happened, so that might already be an ESPN game. Because I don't think that
they probably didn't anticipate
Fox probably wasn't grabbing
Purdue, Illinois at the beginning of the season. Yeah.
All right, Matt Verzal is coming up next. I think Verz is a big McAfee fan.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, they're like similar.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, all right. We're back with more of 1620 after this. Hey, if you're looking for a vehicle this weekend, the weather's going to be fantastic, and we are inching towards, that white stuff that's going to be on the ground, colder temperatures. You need a reliable vehicle. How about a truck? For business or for pleasure, how about Woodhouse Buick GMC? They open the doors. You walk in there at 119th and I, and you see the Sierra 1500. Yep, power in the front, power in the back, great towing capacity, leather interior, top-notch technology, big, huge touch screen. You can take it beyond the boundaries of what you think a truck should do. The experience, top-notch, price good right now. Check out this truck and more in stock. 119th and I, or online where you can begin your journey. The same sales team that is knowledgeable and friendly. Yeah, they can be even friendly in cyberspace at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Visit them today. Woodhouse Buick GMC. We are professional grade.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Fourth grade, we're learning all these things. I, in my infinite wisdom, decide to write a note to a girl. Finish your drink. I don't want you to spit this. Said me plus you equals nighttime fun. It's an 11-year-old. I got in trouble. I got sent to the counselor's office.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Potential for a top 10 day Friday with mainly sunny skies, light winds throughout the day, highs in the upper 70s. Cooling off overnight, mainly clear skies, lows in the lower 40s. Mostly sunny, breezy, and warmer for Saturday, highs in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
The Zone Hotline is powered by Los Hills Harley-Davidson, your home in the hills.
Visit Sid Dillon Chevrolet to shop inventory or to order your new vehicle. And we're your Chevrolet Business Elite dealer offering medium-duty trucks and low-cab forwards.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
Chevy, find new roads.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every month. Omaha, it's the spookiest time of the year, but starting a new fitness routine doesn't have to be scary. Genesis is transforming fitness here in Omaha with our fully remodeled Cass, West Roads, and Terra Plaza locations, plus new locations at 132nd and Center and Midtown Crossing. Come see our just finished luxury remodel at 84th and Q with all new finishes, equipment, and amenities for the best fitness experience in Omaha. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Club with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every single month. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Come to Genesis and get in the best shape of your life so you can handle anything those zombies, werewolves, and vampires throw at you. Go to GenesisHealthClubs.com before Halloween and get no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every month. This offer will not extend.
When cancer hits home, when you need answers and hope, turn to Nebraska Medicine, where cancer care is world leading and personal. In one visit, you'll meet with the team specializing in your cancer, discover treatments based on your DNA, and the support that makes a difference, like a nurse case manager and multiple locations, so you can always be close to home. For cancer, this is where you begin. Visit nebraskamed.com/cancer.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-341-8735 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-341-8735. That's 800-341-8735. What do you have to lose? Call 800-341-8735. Again, 800-341-8735.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Brookside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Brookside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 402-671-7777. That's 402-671-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Brookside Medical Clinic now. 402-671-7777.
Sure, the weather is nice and mild now, but before too long, it's going to be cold, windy, with tons of snow and ice. Is your roof ready? The time to make it ready is now. That's why Complete Industries uses quality products like Scotchgard protected Atlas Pristine shingles. Sturdy, durable, and reliable. So when the storm hits, you'll be more than ready. Complete Industries also works with your insurance. Get a free inspection and estimate on roofs, gutters, siding too.
Visit CompleteIndustries.com or call 402-935-0554.
1620 The Zone.
All right, let's welcome in Matt Verzal. Tonight, big game, good game in Class B. Scott and Gross, the final night of the regular season. Then tomorrow we find out the playoffs. We welcome in Matty V. Good morning.
Sharpie, how we doing?
Good. Hey, that'll be for your boys. That'll be a fun game tonight. That'll be knock 'em, sock 'em football.
Yeah, we better have her strapped on. I mean, we better. They can't be in your fields tonight because you're gonna get it. Like Gross. They've done a good job. Credit to the admin, to the coaches, and to the kids. You know, they got a lot of kids that play hard, and they got a lot of kids that play rough, and it's fun to watch. They're a good team. Loves running back too, the Garcia kid.
Yes.
I think he started. He was a sophomore, and he's just a hard nose. And the cool part about him, he's super patient when he runs. But then when he decides he wants to go, you better have two solid feet and two ass cheeks ready to go, or else he'll run you over.
Hey, we had Plattsmouth last night, and so their coach, we were talking about their game the previous week that you guys scored in the last minute. He said, yeah, we knew that fullback trap was coming, but we kind of thought we were all playing for overtime. And then they sprung that on us, and we couldn't stop them from 60 out.
Yep, I think it was 70. And, you know, inside all of the things that go on in the game and then the madness, you sometimes have to boil the game down in those instances to getting the ball in the hands of your fastest kid and trusting him to make one guy miss, and he did. And you know, it's kind of when you get to a certain point in coaching, you kind of put yourself on the other sideline because it's happened to me. I know the gut wrenching feeling that was happening for Plattsmouth, but you know, super happy for the kids that we finally executed and played real well. And Tony Hightoft did a nice job, and once he got clear, he broke a tackle and hit some gears that I'm not sure he knew he had. And away he went to the end zone. So it was for my heart, I'm not a fan of those games. For the boys, I'm a fan of the games. And it was cool to have them that Plattsmouth emptied the gun, man. They were smacking us around and playing hard, and it was a head knocker, literally.
Verse, how do you feel about how you guys are playing right now?
It's step by step. You always have a chance to progress and get better, and there's some things we got to brush up. We in the past kind of
late for us. We usually hit stride about game 5 or 6, and we go. And we had a good wake up call against Blasmuth, and we had a good week of practice. But Gross is a real deal. If you go way back in the machine, before the season started, I said this is my dark horse to win it all. So they're legit. They're not to be taken lightly. So they're big up front. Quarterback's probably underrated. Got some nice receivers, and it'll be a fun game.
Hey, I was thinking of you on a play that was run in the Bills-Chiefs game the other day. It's just a different way to run a toss play with misdirection, but it's an incredible play by Mitch Morse, the center for Buffalo, because you have to be nimble because you have to snap the ball, and then he opened up right, and then he turned his back to the line of scrimmage to pull left, and then you also had the right tackle does this little shuffle step, and then it comes around to the left as well. I thought, my God, that is like football porn 101 right there. But it just shows you sometimes, and I'm kind of in your wheelhouse here, we overlook centers. But, man, are you seeing more, whether it be at the high school level that you work with, college, i.e. Cam Jurgens last year, or the NFL, that we're seeing more athletic and nimble centers in the game of football?
Well, Kelsey kind of broke the mold, and people will say he's 275. I was listening to him and his brother have a pod.
Oh, great.
Pretty funny. But just looking at him, he's probably closer to 265. But everybody wants to make it these big maulers and all this stuff, right? You can be undersized as long as you understand leverage and as long as you understand your base, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he levers better than anybody. But Morse also works some with George Kittle's old man.
Okay.
And they do a lot of functionality training. It's not as much like I squat 8,000 pounds. But he said he doesn't wear knee braces.
Really?
And everybody else is always knee braced up.
Yeah.
If you operate your lower half correctly, you don't need knee braces. Your body will protect you. But yeah, what he did there, there's very few that can do that, and it's real cool to see because the athleticism at the size they are is really undersold. But yeah, that was we have that play in the playbook. We just don't run
it. You mentioned the big maulers versus the more athletic guys, and we were talking with Dr. Rob earlier this week about that a little bit as well. Is that a place where you think Nebraska has kind of gone astray a little bit of focusing too much on getting these giant behemoths and not guys that can move and execute some of these offensive line schemes that you'd like to see?
Well, Robbie, I think you have to. It is being a big body is awesome. This dude, people from Iowa should not have license. Like I got some kid going through a parking lot with a trailer, going about 45 in like a grocery store parking lot.
That ain't gonna end well.
I just told him it was number one. I don't think you can say it. Yeah, athleticism, right? And showcasing that athleticism. Now, the hips and the knees, the ankles, and people will forget about the ankle. The ankle is very important. Your ankle flexibility is huge. I credit my mom. She made me get in gymnastics when I was a kid. I hated it, but I was the only dude in the class. I'm like, well, this isn't all bad. But that helped. That saved me a lot through the years, like avoiding some knee injuries and avoiding some ankle issues. But it's awesome. You can lift 4 tons, but if you can't get that to translate into an athletic movement, that's all worthless. It has no value at all. I mean, you'll get some. You'll get some of these guys. They'll tell you. They got guys that start in the NFL bench like 315, which isn't an absorbent amount of money or of weight, but you think people out there bench like 400 or 500 pounds. But then you watch them move. You watch Lane Johnson move.
Yep.
You watch him operate. It's all athleticism because the guy you're going against, offensive linemen have mental advantage. Defensive linemen have physical advantage. So you could be 2 to 3 tenths faster than me in everything. but I'm smarter than you. I get in the right spot, and I'm based up, and now away we go. I highly encourage everyone, if you want to see the direction I think linemen are moving, go watch World's Smallest Sumo. I think he's a Czech dude, and he gets in there against the Yokozunas, and he wins because he understands his hips, he understands leverage, and he understands what to do.
Hold on, Robbie's got a question. I'm googling this.
I'll say he's googling World's Smallest Sumo on live here.
Yeah.
So when you talk about, because I kind of nerd out with the strength and conditioning stuff a little bit. When you talk about making sure your ankles and knees and hips or everything are more functional movements, what are some of the things you like to see guys work on instead of just, hey, I can squat 700 pounds? Like, what are some of the things that you like to see them work on to get into a place where your body does protect itself?
So we like all of the step over the hurdle, step under the hurdle, all that stuff that you see like sprinters and stuff do. We did that as linemen.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the portable fences they take down, they put them up during the game, take them down after. But you put two hands on that, and our fat asses were jumping over those things for 30 seconds at a time. And it was miserable. But the weight that you had to transfer from the earth up into the air, you learned hip explosion. I'm not a, you can go through a phase of it for like 6 weeks where you're just lifting crazy heavy. But I think circuit training is far better for competition than anything else. I think circuit training does more for your cardiovascular, for you to just keep in motion. There's a lot of research coming out now where we've all been taught keep your knees over your toes. When you're squatting, to let your knees go out past your toes, because never in any athletic spot do you keep your knees behind your toes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's neat you can squat a Yugo, but we ain't squatting Yugos for points in games. Like, you got to be able to move.
All right, so our sumo guy is 6'1", 200 pounds. He is the lightest sumo wrestler in modern era.
Watch that little dude.
Now, why were you watching sumo wrestling?
So it came across. I googled leverage, and I googled base and that kind of stuff, and I was looking through it, and that little video popped up. I've always been enamored by those. I mean, those are huge dudes, and I just like watch them collide, and they kind of slap each other in the face, and I laugh about it. And I was like, "What's this little guy doing here, man? He's gonna get trucked." And then about that time, he hip tossed somebody in the front row, and I'm like, "Okay, you get it. Like, you know what you're doing." And then when you watch him and you can kind of break down how he moves, I'm not a doctor like Rob, but I understand basic things. I can understand, how he gets into a position where he gets into that. It's a C-spine where he arches his back, he's up on his toes, but that's the strongest position your body can be in, because then if you go translate that over to something Robbie will probably appreciate more, which are the world's strongest man, when they pick up those Atlas stones,
mm-hmm.
they're not picking those up straight back. They're in an arched back position.
Yep.
So that C-spine that you get into is so now if I got a small guy, and I say, I need you to get 4 steps in, 1, 2, 3, 4, as fast as you can go. Then I need you to get your hands on that person. I need you to arch your back and clench your cheeks, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
We got a stalemate, we win. And if he lets go of you at all, then you start to run. That's it. So I don't need a lineman that's 6'8". I can take a 5'11", kid that. Now, some of that teaching resonates with kids, some of it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes. But if you can get little guys, Alex Stump, who played center for us, he weighed 160 pounds, he was on our state championship team. The stumper could get in the C-spine instantly, and nobody could move him. And Turman is still to this day baffled by it. He's like, how did Stump do that? Like, because he understood leverage. He's crazy smart. And he knew if he got clinched up and arched, didn't matter how big the kid was, you couldn't get rid of him.
Yeah, I do remember him. That was pretty amazing to look at the starting lineup and see the heights and weights, and you'd go, why is he playing center? Well, now then you'd watch him, and you're absolutely right, Vers. You would know that he was one of the smartest football players on the field.
And Stumper was one of my favorites, too, because he's one. Everybody kind of was like nice guys. I'm like, a kid knocked down a pass. I said, they jump. I said, jumpers get dumped. And so Bill Stuffer the game, the kid jumped and he dumped one. And I was like, don't jump on the stump, baby. Better keep your feet on the ground. You're going to get dumped. And he did it every time somebody jumped. He just shoved them in the hips. Down to the ground they went. They didn't jump no more.
Hey, good luck tonight. And then good luck with the seating tomorrow for Scott.
Thanks, boys.
That's Matt Verzel. Hey, he brought up slap fighting.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
So
Dana White.
Yes. It has now been licensed as a competition in the state of Nevada. So it will be at sports books.
Nice.
Yeah,
so
you can bet on slap fighting.
I don't know if it'll be under the same UFC banner or not, but Dana White is invested into slap fighting.
How do you become a professional slap fighter? Because you have to have the open palm.
You do. You have to have the open palm.
What makes a good slap fighter?
Well, all the ones I've seen are Russian.
Because you have to take.
Yeah, I think you have to be able to withstand the hit.
Okay.
That's important. Obviously power. You probably want to get some torque because they kind of like, they spin a little bit. So you want to have I think some good abdominal like trunk rotation there. And then I think having a massive hand to inflict the pain there probably helps. But that would be my guess. I don't know. I'm not an expert in slap fighting yet. But
This is a YouTube rabbit hole waiting to happen. After
oh,
the
it is.
show.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a major competition.
Yeah, it's
but put me in the dirt if I ever bet on slap fighting.
You say that now.
No, I guarantee that I've never, waddling up to the circa and going, hey, slap fighting. Let me take Gorgie over there.
Give me Dmitry Petrov plus 250.
Loved him in the last Bond movie.
How come sumo wrestlers don't do a U.S. tour?
That's a good question.
If sumo wrestling came to the CHI or Baxter, I'd be there.
There's a curiosity there for sure. I think there's just very little familiarity with it. Like, I think the only thing people know, and myself included, like, I don't know how it's scored. All I know is there are two generally very large men, except for our mini sumo hero over here, who's 6'1", 200. He's not a small person, but I understand.
Lee Corso would call him a midget.
I understand what we're doing here. But basically all I know is you have two guys in loincloths basically running into each other. So I think the lack of understanding is an obstacle there of kind of what the sport actually is, because it is a real sport. It's not just like an oddity, like there is scoring and winners and losers and everything. But I think the lack of knowledge about it's a pretty big obstacle for people.
So TC says in the Equitable Bank inbox, the smallest sumo was 5'2", 161 pounds. So it's all about leverage when you are going against a much larger sumo. But I think if they toured the U.S., we take our professional athletes over to Japan and
why not
tour? Why not bring the professional sumos over here?
I do have a fascination with niche sports, just stuff that is huge other places that, like, it has to be interesting on some level. Otherwise it wouldn't blow up wherever it did.
Yeah.
So like I got, like, in college, I got really into rugby for a half minute because it's super fun
Aussie
to watch.
rules.
Yeah, I know some people that are super into Aussie rules football. But I got into like cricket last year.
Yeah, would people here go and watch cricket like during the summer at a?
I would.
I mean, is there a unique stadium where you could have a cricket match?
Yeah, they are
because of
odd
the field.
stadiums. Yeah, so you'd have to have a unique situation there. The reason I got into it is because it's like the only sport in the world that India is any good at. So I was like, yeah, let's support the motherland over there a little bit.
Guess it makes sense.
Well, we like to support our culture and heritage and stuff. Everybody.
NBA is huge in India.
It is. Yeah, you don't get a lot of NBA players. Yeah, it's Sim Bular, who I think got drafted, never actually played in the NBA. But yeah, don't get a lot of people. Think of Indian people as short, and most of them are. But there is like it's kind of like with Yao Ming, and there's like a group of Indian people. I don't know if they came from like a different region or whatever, that are enormous. They're huge. It might be from the Himalayas. I don't know.
That's what I would think.
Yeah. That would be my guess. I have no knowledge of the situation. I haven't been there since I was 7, but I'd guess they're the people from the Himalayas or the tall ones.
We're back with more of this show. Hey, coming up on Wednesday, November 9th, a great opportunity for you to support my friends over the Kim Foundation. Their annual A Time for Hope and Healing event. They always bring in well-known mental health advocates each year for this luncheon. And as I mentioned, it's Wednesday, November 9th from 11:30 to 1 at Embassy Suites La Vista. And this year, we have a very special guest that also relates to the sports world, Jay Glazer from Fox Sports. You'll see him on Sunday as the NFL Insider on Fox. And most notably, Jay Glazer released a book recently, Unbreakable: How I Turned My Depression and Anxiety into Motivation, and you can too. He'll share his personal story. And now that I've completed the book, his story will tell you of how he's done all of this, the endeavors, his work with Fox, and he won't quit taking his foot off the gas, how he got his big break, how he got on Ballers. But in order to work through some things and work better, he had to keep going. So he'll tell his story. It's quite fascinating, and he will be the guest speaker at the Kim Foundation's annual Time for Hope and Healing. Now, to purchase tickets, and they're only $75 per ticket, go to thekimfoundation.org. You can learn more about the Kim Foundation and purchase tickets. Thekimfoundation.org. Their great event coming up on Wednesday, November 9th at Embassy Suites in La Vista, when Jay Glazer is the featured speaker as part of A Time for Hope and Healing.
Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Sonic has something delicious for you. Hey, announcer guy, that's your cue.
Try the all-new Sonic Chop House Cheeseburger. Elevate your taste buds with creamy Chop House aioli, crispy onion strings, and 2 slices of American cheese decadently layered atop a 100% pure beef patty and served on a toasted brioche bun.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely craving that previously mentioned thing.
Sonic. Limited time only at participating Sonic drive-ins.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
The 2022-23 Creighton sports season holds great promise for competing for Big East and national honors, and 1620 The Zone will be there all year long. The 1620 The Jays podcast covers all of Blue Jay sports, from volleyball, soccer, and cross country in the fall to basketball in the winter, plus baseball, softball, tennis, golf, and rowing. Join me, John Bishop, along with Josh Peterson and Connor Happer each week for interviews with Creighton student athletes and coaches. It's the 1620 The Jays podcast. New episodes each Friday on 1620thezone.com and on Twitter at 1620 The Jays.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory, explore payment options, and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year and business has never been better. We are rapidly growing and adding new customers, which means we need new route drivers and service technicians. We have new jobs for those new to the industry with little or no experience, and new careers that require knowledge in the coffee and vending world. There's a good chance we have just what you need in a new job. Host Coffee offers competitive pay and understands the work-life balance. Apply today at hostcoffee.net/careers and join our team.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Cubby's supports the PACE program with Raise Some Dough. For every large pizza sold at Cubby's in the Old Market, Cubby's gives $1 to the Police Athletic League, serving at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children with athletic and educational programs. PACE has over 5,800 program participants. The league reaches kids that would not normally be able to participate in athletics like soccer and baseball due to financial situations and family dynamics. PACE wants to give every kid the opportunity at athletics, and a healthy and safe environment. If you'd like to support PACE too, go to paceomaha.org.
1620 The Zone.
All right, wrapping up a week with Ravi on 1620 The Zone. Did you see Adam Sandler is coming out? He's going to have a new movie, Netflix. It'll be a sports-related movie, Uncut Gems. Were you yay or nay?
I actually never saw Uncut Gems.
Okay, I think you should.
I've heard it's kind of a tough hang. Like, it's a good movie, but it's...
It is. I think you should do this.
Yeah?
I think you should go back-to-back this weekend.
Uncut Gems Dahmer?
No. Now you would be greatly disturbed. I would go
have a good weekend.
Go Uncut Gems and then go Hustler or Hustle.
I saw Hustle. I liked
Okay,
Hustle.
Okay.
It was pretty good. Yeah.
All right.
I thought it was a reasonably good sports movie. Like, it's a little predictable, but I liked it.
Yeah, and there were so many cameos in it.
Yes. Honestly, they got the basketball really well.
They did.
And that's the one thing with sports movies that can be super distracting. And so I appreciate when they're like, we're just getting all NBA players. We'll limit their lines and teach them how to act or whatever. And just, we're going to make it a really good basketball scenes. So I appreciated that for sure.
Never have figured out why his left hand was bandaged, but the car accident he reached. Yeah, I've never figured that out. But he has another movie that is in the works for Netflix. It's going to be about sports card collecting.
Okay.
So there's probably enough drama in that business and some shady characters.
Sure, yeah.
That you could make a movie out of it.
I never would have thought to. I do say I think I like the Adam Sandler sports movies more than I like the comedies that he's kind of been pumping out for Netflix. I'll be honest, I haven't watched a lot of them, but the trailers that pop up when my Netflix comes on seem like I'm not the audience that they're shooting for there.
It's good. It's good to be a friend of Adam Sandler.
Oh yeah. He will put you in movies for life.
The sports card collecting business, which I mean is back.
It's booming again.
Well,
yeah,
thanks to COVID.
Yeah,
it took off during COVID. I mean, you go to
it was dead for a long time.
Well, I remember Target had the run where they took the sports cards off the shelf.
Yeah,
and now I notice they're back.
It was dead for probably 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
from like late 2000s to COVID, basically.
And there are younger people that are card collecting again.
Were you a big card collector when you were a kid?
Yes, huge.
I was huge. I still have. There's a tote of binders at my mom's house still that just all my cards.
My NBA cards were organized by conference and division.
I have. I will probably once a month buy a pack of baseball cards.
There's something about opening a pack of cards that's like really satisfying.
And that's another thing that has become big in the viral world is let's open a pack of cards together. Mike Oz, who used to be at Yahoo, he was the first that started it. He would, with usually a Hall of Famer, he would say, let's open a pack of cards. And so the Hall of Famer opening up the pack of cards would comment on the cards.
Yeah.
Either he played with them or, or it's him.
Hey, that's me.
So you see more and more of that, which is pretty cool.
Did you ever go to, they used to have like almost once a week at the malls in town, they'd have cards, like little card setups.
I used to go to a lot of card shows and memorabilia shows.
When I was a kid, we used to get, my friend's mom would take us to the mall to go to these card shows and stuff. And I'd have like $10 or something. So you'd haggle with the guy, be like, hey, will you give me this pack for 4 instead of 6? And I loved collecting cards, man.
But just if you're going to do a movie like this and people go sports card collecting, there are enough of those shady characters that you would see at those shows or either in a mall or they would be like in a shady hotel ballroom.
Yeah, like a convention center. Yeah. Where or if you're doing the auctions get real intense, which I've never been to one of those live. But yeah, there's I could definitely see there being some unsavory characters in that world.
All right. Good luck to everybody staying healthy for the Niners on Sunday.
Yeah, listen, I just want a good game. I hope everybody has fun and that we're still speaking to each other.
You guys are so civil. I expected more.
Everybody has fun.
We're still speaking to each other on Monday.
Go sports.
Yeah. I mean, you can afford a loss.
Yeah, the division's bad. I'm not that.
And you got McCaffrey.
Exactly. For the 4 games that he's healthy this year, it's going to be super fun.
Oh, well, that's one of the marquee games. Christian McCaffrey acquired overnight for 4 draft picks by the Niners.
They have a lot of compensatory picks from all the coaches that have left, so I'm not even worried about the compensation.
Hey, also, look at the reaction by the Eagles last night watching the Saints play because the Eagles have the Saints pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good for them.
Enjoy your football weekend, everybody. We'll talk